Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the international rugby matches in November. This one, Fiji versus France. Now, the Fijians up against England last week. They did lose by 20, whereas the French, they lost by 15. So both of these sides looking to fire back here in the contest. Now, I will mention there is another match taking place at the same time. Ireland versus Australia. We will have two different live streams going on the channel, one for each match. So be sure to check them both out. But looking through at the starting lineup, first of all, for the French, they have got once again an outstanding backline for this match. Maxime Luku, he comes into the starting lineup as the 9, rather than making his way off of the bench like he did last week. Roman Intermac in that number 10 jersey. Louis Balbiere out on the left wing. Damien Pinot out on the right. And then also Barassi and Deportier alongside Ramos as the rest of the backs. We see the return of Charles Olivon. He will be slotting in as the 4 for this contest alongside Mia Fu, Jalons, Jaju, and also Gregory Aldred back in the team as that number 8. And then Montagne, Julio Manchon, and also Jean-Baptiste Grue as that number 1. And this match for the Flying Fijians, they have got some outstanding players across their starting 15. Aroni Maui, Tavita Ikanaviri, and Masaki Donge will make up the front row. You will see a huge amount of Fijian flair from the Fijian Drua in Super Rugby Pacific. Asoa Nasilasila alongside Timo Mayanava in the locking duo with Peter Gus Sawakula back in that number 6 jersey after starting last game up against England. Ilya Thanakaivata at number 7 and Viliami Mata, he is there as that number 8. Simeone Kuravuli alongside Caleb Muntz as that 9 and 10 combination. Joshua Tuisova, the ball running danger man in the midfield. Kalaveti Ravovo, he is there at 13. And then Gita Wanyanyolo, Celestino Ravatomanda, and Salisi Rayasi as that number 15. Looking through quickly at the benches, and then we will be reading the chat that is going on. Plenty of talent for both teams once again. Roman Taufafanua in that number 19 jersey. Bodian, Arudo, and then also Giliton, another man to definitely keep an eye on for this matchup. For the Fijians, they've got Kitioni Salawa, Sareli Mangwala there as that number 23 with Isaiah Armstrong Ravula's impact at 22. Zaril Tongyotama, Hireti Atit, and then also Hoyt as that number 18. But looking through at the comments, we have got there, remove pollen from your garden, Hamish, says Anthony. I assume we're talking about hay fever there. We have got, hey Hamish, you doing Wallaby, says Jan Lu. We are indeed. That one starting in 5 minutes time for that next live stream on the channel. Go Fiji, says Anthony. And also Japan has really improved as the year has gone along and keep games close often now, says Jonathan. Yeah, with the exception of, like, that's the thing, a 20-point loss to England, I think it hurt the Fijians a little bit, but at the same time, they were competitive through quite a bit of that first half in contest up against England, and it was just the later stages where they did struggle, which is exactly what we could see happen in this game up against the French. If Fiji lose their momentum, start fatiguing, that is when it's probably going to be a little bit more one-sided. Did you get any sleep lately? Not lately. Yesterday, I believe, was the last time that I did sleep. We have got the Hauser Hamish, who's commentating the Ireland match, so we have got Rugby Itch. He will be popping on to help us out with that one. We just got set up before this live stream started, so he is starting in around 3 or so minutes time, and we will have both streams going simultaneously, and then I'll be joining on to that stream at the end of the contest. We have got there such an incredible match. Japan had 2 sin bins and Wales can't get anything. Japan missed a few kicks and had too many unforced errors and penalties given away. It's always a great game when we don't cover it when it comes to any sort of competition, whether that's international rugby or whether that's just something else. It seems to always be, if I don't do a game, it's an outstanding one, and that is what happened with Japan versus Wales. Probably match of the weekend, and it may not even be close. And are you doing both matches at once? I am, but at the same time, I'm not, if that makes sense. So we will have both live streams running on the channel. I've got Tim, Rugby Itch, as some of you guys will know him. He is covering the game between Australia and Ireland for me, and then from there, I will be jumping on at the end of that match to pop in and say hi and give a bit of a summary of both games. So you're doing the full length for the France match? That is the plan, yes. So France versus Fiji, we will be doing in full completion, and then also jumping over to that other stream at the end of the contest as well. Now, Ireland versus Australia may be a little bit, I would say, maybe a little bit longer than this match in terms of just the overall timing. I do think that that one will take a little bit longer with a couple TMO decisions and all sorts jumping in there too. But yeah, hopefully not too bad as a whole. They are just showing highlights from the international rugby weekend that we have seen. There are plenty of great games that have happened already throughout the weekend, and hopefully that will continue throughout the rest. We have got there nice. I haven't fully decided if I wanted to watch Ireland or France yet. That makes it easy. I'll stick with this one. Says Yanko there, and also we've got there France going to want a big game today after last weekend. Absolutely. I think that for the French going into this contest, there will be a lot of determination there because, you know, that score last week was not what the French anticipated. Yes, don't get me wrong. If they were expecting a loss, it wasn't by 15. It was probably supposed to be a lot closer than that and just wasn't quite the case. On the day, France versus Australia, that is a huge match next week that has taken place for the November internationals, and we will, of course, be covering that one. The good news is these two matches here are the only ones that overlap really badly in terms of the November international period. So hopefully it is the only time that we have issues in terms of which streams to do at which times. But this game, as you can see, Fiji coming in as quite heavy underdogs for this fixture. You can understand why the French will be hungry to go back out there and make a big statement in this contest. But the Flying Fijians, after losing to the English by the 20 points, they've got Spain next week. They can kind of just go out there and play their natural game of rugby. And that is probably their best way of beating France. We've got to remember, the French are used to that more kicking-orientated style of rugby. Fiji can't play in that way if they want to win. They have to play their own natural running game. But when you're going up against Julian Marchand, as well as Damien Penaud, Biel Biarre, Charles Olivon, like, you have to be on your A game from the very get-go, but this Fijian side, they're more than capable of being very strong throughout this match. Or at least that's what I'm hoping anyway. Thoughts on Razor? Says Lyle, in what regard are we talking? We talking just in general as a person? You're talking about from that last game? What's the full question there? We have got the Go Fiji, says Nars Williams. Okay, so why don't we get yellow carded today? Because they weren't going to score if we didn't do that, says Highlanders. And I want a new All Blacks coach, says Highlanders fan there. And France are going to want a big game after last weekend, says Sakabola. And there as well. Yeah, now I do see the French really being able to fire back in emphatic fashion for this contest. Just because, you know, to lose one game hurts, but to lose two in a row at home, that is kind of uncharted territory for the French, and that is the last thing that they want. They had a pretty decent Six Nations competition. In fact, they won the whole thing. Other than the one loss to the English, going with a France win in Ireland to make it 3-1 to the Northern Hemisphere sides, says George. And also we've got there the France flag from Cameron in there as well. I didn't watch it, but was Will Jordan's kicking but was Will Jordan kicking it to touch of pens? He was in the second half. They did make a little bit of a switch. Do you think it's worth covering tweets after games? Covering tweets? As in like a tweet that someone like posted about the match, I assume? This will be a crunch match, says C. And then Australia's getting it next week. Revenge for last week, says Cameron. And yeah, the Australians going head-to-head with the Irish just around the corner from starting up that contest. What we will quickly do is we'll go like this and refresh there for a second. Right, and what I want to quickly do is I'm going to change the start time of that other live stream. I think Tim may be running slightly late, so we'll just change that. And hopefully it's going to be all right with a little bit of luck. And super match ahead, go France. Says John there. Yeah, it should be entertaining. I think that both of these sides will come into this match knowing that, like, well, for the French, this is all about preparation for that matchup against the Australians, whereas in this scenario for Fiji, this is their big match. They had their game up against England last week. It didn't go their way. This is now considered as that massive contest that they have to try and get themselves in the right direction for. Australia will not win. They will be smashed, says LJ, and both trying to get a win, says C there. And yeah, it's a statement win too. For Fiji, if they were able to beat France, they boost themselves drastically in the Rugby World Rankings. Whereas for the French, that would give them a massive decline. They are close at the moment in terms of there's about 3 or 4 sides still fighting for roughly those same positions in the Rugby World Rankings. We'll get it up here. England got themselves a nice little boost, of course. So currently the way that it sits, Wales, they did get themselves plus 67, so they sit in 12th at the moment, just ahead of the Japanese. In this match, France can gain 0.18 if they were to win this game by 16 or more points. Whereas Fiji, in this contest. They can gain 1.88 for a win, 2.82 if they were to get themselves the win by a bigger margin. Tweeting post-match informs a neutral on what to watch through the week, says JB. And also we've got their big Fiji fan closing in on the top 6 will place $1 on them. Big boys and great athletes. If they can play 15s like 7s, Fiji getting closer. And yeah, this Fijian side, I think they are starting to develop a very nice amount of depth. Now, I will mention, if Fiji were to win this game by any sort of margin, and Australia were to lose to Ireland, Fiji would go up to 7th in the ranking. Who's covering the Ireland game? It is going to be Rugby Itch. You should be live very soon, hopefully. With a little bit of luck. I just hate the Aussie commentary, so biased. Watching it on Stan. Says Lyle. And also we have got there, got a knock on the door this morning. Was asked to donate to local school for a new swimming pool. I gave them a bucket of water. Says Bruce, such a generous man. And when will the Australia-Ireland live commentary start? Hopefully very soon. He was going to be going live about 5 minutes ago, but unless something drastic's happened. I know that he was going to be having a shower, I think, beforehand. And I got nothing from him at this point in time, so he should be live in about, hopefully, the next kind of 4 or 5 minutes. If not, a little bit beforehand would be great. And hey, Amish and Jets, what's your prediction for this? I will get a card in this game. I'm going with number 5 for Fiji. So going in that case with Timo Mayanavanuwa. In that case, I'm hoping we're going to have a cardless game. But we'll have to see. Coach R.A., he really loves Australians. And knows what he's up to in the shower, says Yanko. And also Caleb Munster's a very handsome man. I wouldn't mind bathing him in the shower. This has got in a weird direction. Just pat him down a little. No funny stuff, though. It sounds like a bit of funny stuff, but he is in the number 10 jersey. Said he is live in 2 minutes. Says, I know. Okay, sweet ass. So he will be there in the very near future then. And we have got their Samoa versus Belgium on Tuesday. Yeah, we are going to be covering that game on the channel as well. So, of course, anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. But we are closing in on the start of this contest. 8 minutes away from the kickoff this game at the Stade de France. I want to know your score predictions in the comments. No red cards, please. And where you're watching, bro, it is on Sky Sport, I believe, 3 or 2 here in New Zealand is where I am watching this contest. I know that Australia versus Ireland, that is the game on Sky Sport 1. But yeah, multiple matches all taking place at the same time. We have also got there is no chance of a Fiji pulling off the upset. Says Mornay Lagrange, although they aren't considered as the biggest underdog of this round. We have seen already, I will say Italy were about the same underdog odds as what we are seeing for the Fijians here. And the Stade de France, of course, the light show, or I should say the Bordeaux stadium for this contest. Rugby fans need a cardless and TMO-less game. Says Lyle there, and I'd love to see Fiji win, but I'm afraid they won't. Says Yanko. And Belgium would be the third team, or third first-time team in 2027 if they won, says Big Rig. I don't care about the world rankings anymore. France is the second best team in the world, says Cameron. And if they were to win this game, they would get themselves a little bit of a boost. Not a crazy one. They would still be sitting in 5th in the overall rankings. But if they were able to beat Australia next week, that may be enough to boost them up to either 3rd, 4th, or perhaps stay in 5th for the next World Cup draw. And that is very close to happening. It will be on the 3rd of December. It's like a few of the Fijians are cracking the Red Bulls before they make their way out onto the field. And thanks, Big Rig. Looking forward to it. And I Hamish and all. Watching Ireland versus Oz, following France versus Fiji here. Multitasking, says Studs Race. Yeah, it just seems a bit rough, the fact that there are 2 massive matches taking place at the exact same time. Mostert knew exactly what he was doing. Says Bones, I don't think he did, though. I looked at the replay, and you do see him drop his head. And I have a feeling that he didn't realise that the other South African was making the tackle, which then did push Polo Garbisi towards him. So, didn't get much of a chance to wrap the arm, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was as bad as a red card, that is for sure. And Fiji could win, but they need to keep their discipline up and save as much energy as they can, because France is quite a fast team. Says there, yeah, France will come out firing in this contest. They will look to try and get themselves as many points early as they can, wear down the Fijians. Although the Fijian gas tank wasn't too shabby in that game up against the English just last week. Yes, in the later stages it did struggle, but I think that wasn't down to fatigue. That was more down to the physicality in that 6-2 split of the English. We have their Mostert is usually a fair player, says JB, and there as well. But both sides just about to make their way out onto the field, I should say. I'll mention anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is very greatly appreciated you all being here for this contest. They are just doing the countdown, 5 seconds till they make their way on. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to let me know your score prediction. I will mention France are expected to win this by quite a big margin. We have got the hi Hamish. You could not respond to my earlier comment, so here it is again. I know nothing to do with this game. Do you think that it is about time to get rid of Scott Barrett? Says Jan. It's a tricky one because in that match for the All Blacks, no matter what, Barrett was going to be playing purely because of the fact that Fabian Holland ruled out late for sickness. So let's just say, for instance, Barrett, if he hadn't been in the 23, he would have ended up in there anyway. Now, I think that Scott Barrett did some good things throughout that match. He's still not a captain, I'll be honest. He doesn't exude that confidence of someone who's supposed to be leading the side. But as a player, Scott Barrett's still relatively up there in terms of the New Zealand locks. No Semi Radradra, sadly not. But they have still got Joshua Tuisova. They've got Celestino Ravatomanda. They've got Gita Wanyanyolo. So some pretty handy sides. Why isn't Hamish doing the Big Island match? We've been shortchanged. It is live at the moment on the channel, Power By. It has taken place at this very point in time. It is live, Australia versus Ireland. So if you are hoping to watch that game, be sure to pop on over and you'll get to see Rugby Itch for that stream. We have got the Go Fiji. Imagine another World Cup in 2065. So here's Anthony there. Yes, Bones, he was making a tackle. And Rugby Itch is currently live on air, thank goodness. He was probably showering as you were saying, says Mono Lagrange. And did the All Blacks get a red card? No red cards in that game, only a yellow for Cody Taylor. But the Fijian national anthem is now just being sung, and then we will be ready to go for this matchup. I reckon Gita Wanyanyolo will get a try. Such a dangerous ball runner. And we've seen him in the sevens before. He just seems to be able to find that gap. But the question is, can he do that up against Les Bleus in this matchup? They have got a really strong defensive backline, I would say, or just structure in general. Rugby Itches and Hamish. That's all I'm saying, says Power By 92. Well, at the end of the day, Rugby Itch is helping us out massively because World Rugby decided to put 2 big games on at the same time. So, you know, it's one of those ones that we cannot be in multiple places at once. This is still a massive match that I did not want to miss out on. So, yeah, it's just one of those ones that, like, I could have done no stream for one of them and then just had one, but then it wouldn't have been the same. Can you actually show the match? Sadly not. Due to licensing, any match footage or audio would get me taken straight off YouTube. And they are costing the ABs, says Jan. And there, see, Beauden Barrett, I would agree with. I think that he's started to look a little bit rough in the last little while. The Fijian national anthem has been sung now, though, ladies and gents. We are just about to get underway after the French national anthem, which is right on the verge of taking place right now. I feel like the Stade de France crowd, they are really going to sing it loud and proud. Thanks for picking this match, bro. Says Anton. And there as well. And Hamish, are we pissed about the All Blacks game? Not really. It was quite an enjoyable contest to watch. Where can I watch it? Whereabouts in the world are you, Joe? If you are in Fiji, I believe it's on Sky Pacific. I meant to say, when will the Southern Hemisphere team host another World Cup? Says Anthony Alfonso. And come up with your shoulders towards the chest. Tuck in your chin and wrap your spare arm around towards the jaw. Watch the slow-mo, says Bones. I did watch the slow-mo, and I did see that the contact, that almost looks like it's snowing in France at the moment. Surely that is not the case, but no, I don't think it's the rare card that they're making it out to be. And, you know, I think that if he gets a suspension, then the world's going downhill when it comes to rugby because, like, every tackle, there's like 10 of those. And how about that challenge in the breakdown from the Italian that didn't get looked at when Gerhard Stenekamp made his way from the field, eh? That flying elbow onto the grounded player, something that they didn't decide to check, but they did check everything South Africa did. In England, says Joe. So in England, I believe it is on Sky Sport, I want to say. The ABs will never be what they were, says Glenn Sell. And don't throw a Fiji upset out the window, says Jan. Yeah, the Fijians, don't get me wrong, they're going to have to play an incredible game of rugby here. They've got Red Franco Mostert in that game up against the Italians. But this match just about to start up, ladies and gents. I'm excited for it. I feel like Fiji need to come out firing. Little bit of rain around, probably not the best case scenario for the Fijians. I am still with you, bud. Says Philip in there. And I should mention anyone who was wanting to catch Ireland versus Australia. We have got a live stream on the channel at the moment with a different commentator for that matchup. So be sure to pop over, say hi as well. We will be joining at the end of that live stream to be able to give a bit of a post-match review of the 2 games. Seen Fiji twice at the Principality Stadium in Wales. They're getting stronger every year, no longer just a 7 side. yeah, I do think that the progression of the Fijian draw has royally helped this Fiji side at international level. Like, you see that cohesion and the chemistry that is starting to build with the Fijian draw. But we do see the Fijians doing the thibi for this matchup, and now we're ready to go. The French taking off the jumpers. There is a little bit of rain falling, like I mentioned, for this matchup. But hopefully it's not going to affect them too badly, and we get to see some nice free-flowing running rugby between these two sides. But we're ready to go. I just feel like this one's going to be a close one. Hopefully, anyway. We'll wait and see. Did you do a coin flip? Who was commentating on which game? No. So pretty much what it was I asked if he was willing to do a commentary. He said yes. And then I said pretty much because he is the guest, he can pick whichever live stream he would like to do, and I will do the other one. Just because it didn't seem right, me just pretty much going, right, I need you to do this match rather than giving him the choice. So he picked Ireland versus Australia, so in that case we get France versus Fiji, and we've been practicing a lot of these French names, so hopefully they'll start rolling off the tongue a little bit more. Fiji will win this, and you know, if you are showing, or if they are showing the game on Supersport in South Africa, I can't find it. I'm not actually 100% sure about Supersport in terms of whether or not they will be showing it for today. Hopefully it pops up at some stage. As soon as kickoff happens, I'll let you know, and maybe if you kind of skim and scan through, fair enough. Says Glenn. So in other words, he hates France. Good to know. Says Big Rig. No, I think it's just the names are a lot easier to say for Ireland versus Australia than some of these Fijian and French names. But like I said, we've had to practice some of the French ones for a while. When Rugby Itch come on here, he seems rushed. Then he didn't shower. He may be stuck in traffic. No, he was at his house. I did chat to him only about 15 minutes before the stream. How we over there, thanks, says Suckabulla there. And this game is on TNT in the UK. Christoph Ridley, he will be the referee in charge of this matchup as we get ready for the kickoff. So let me know if you haven't already, those score predictions, keep them coming in. It'll probably be a close game. Yeah, that match between Ireland and Australia is anticipated to be pretty much down to the wire. This game, if Fiji can stay competitive early, they might have a decent chance, but they have to start well. It will be the French kicking off from right to left after a defeat last week to the Box. They want to fire back with a win on home soil, and they get us underway with Roman Intermac to put it up high. Nicely taken by Caleb Muntz. Now, one aspect of the Fijian game that I think that they may have a little bit of an advantage in is probably their unpredictability partnered with physicality. Now, don't get me wrong, this French four-pack is a solid one, but Fiji just have some of that raw power that makes them a tough side to be able to face. Sad to say, but I'm going France by 18. And so tell me, Hamish, how is Rugby Itch these days? Is he still studying? Maybe he is live at the moment. You could ask him how it is going. But yeah, he is still in his study. William Marchand thrown in the first line out of the day and nicely claimed at the back for Gregory Aldrit. He's back into the starting lineup for the French. He actually wasn't even off the bench in last week's game either, but Maxime Luku looking to the short side, goes off to Biel Biarray, back on the inside to Maxime Luku, just runs out of space and ends up going into touch. How happy is Fozzie right now? Says Sandor, and Fiji will wake up in the last 20 minutes to win, says YouTube user. Yeah, see, the last 20 could be extremely crucial for both of these sides. I will mention it is pouring down with rain now. There's been a few rough weather days, or rough weather matches even just today when it comes to the rugby. And now this one's going to be kicked downfield. Nicely taken by Biel Biarray. He will look to kick this one back up high. Currently sitting about 80 seconds into the contest. Bit of a slip already from Biel Biarray in the chase as well. Nicely taken low by Caleb Muntz, and the penalty goes the way of the Fijians. That is for 12 against Barassi. And if Fijian parents, I gave your baby short names, or give your baby short names if you think of giving them a future in rugby. For the sake of the commentators, says Samuela. I don't think that's what they'll be thinking about at the time, though. But someone who is definitely one to keep an eye out for, Joshua Tuisova, out there on the field. He is just such a tank of an individual. France 52, Fiji 18, says Cameron. Fiji winning that early penalty about 22 metres out from the line. It will be the Fijian line out. We see there Peter Gus Soakula. Normally would have that headgear on, or at least back in the old school days he would. Now thrown into the front, Taveta Ikanaveri. Getting in there almost before France were ready for it. And a big attack and run forward from Fiji. Simeone Kuravoli handling has to be 100% here for the Fijians, or at least as strong as they can. Running straight into Christoph Ridley, chopping tackle on Tuisova. And that is going to be all close to the steal there in the breakdown. And Gregory Aldrich, I believe it was, who managed to rip that ball away from Fiji. Good morning, Amish. Did the hail yesterday damage your car? It did not. It got pretty big, though. In terms of the hail, it turned from the pea size into, I'd say, probably about a grape size. Some of them were falling from the sky. Not ideal. But no, the car was fine. Maxime Luku now kicking this one downfield towards the halfway line. Caleb Muntz taking it nicely. Fires it across to Salisi Rayasi. He has had a stint at the Hurricanes. He's just dropped that ball for the Fijians. So that will be the first knock-on of the day. And it is now going to be a French scrum. Fiji have improved over time. I thought they are more of a 7-side, says George. You know, I think their union has come a long way in just the last, I'd say, 5 to 10 years. We saw them be competitive in their Rugby World Cup pool stage. They had that loss to Wales, but that wasn't really a loss. They were pretty much screwed out of that game. They were able to beat the Australians in the Rugby World Cup. I think one of the Samoans is the same first name and surname. That is Lalomilo, who you are talking about, in their number 12 jersey. And the result of this game will put a spanner in the works. Go Fiji, says Anthony. I'm going to go with Fiji for the win and upset, says Brandon there too. But now it is going to be the scrum feed for the French. This is where we will get to see exactly how dangerous their forward pack can be in this matchup. And bugger, I'm 2 for 2. But I think you might be right on this one, H, says Bones. And there as well. Pack weights, 914 kgs for Fiji, 906 for France. There's some big boys out there on the park for this contest. And Ireland scored, says Suckable. Oh, early try. In that case, Ireland already scored a try that was fast, says Big Rig. Who scored it in the end? Do let me know. So what I was going to do is I was going to watch both games on the same screen, but I think I'm going to leave the Ireland-Australia game to watch the full replay afterwards. But I also don't mind if I know spoilers. Normally, I will anyway. And go Fiji go. Free kick going the way of France. Now Maxime Luku taking the quick tap. Roman Intermac going away to the right-hand side. Thomas Ramos kicking it in behind. Ball bouncing steeply. Taken nicely by Salesi Rayasi. He did stay down before with a bit of an injury, but back up to his feet. And first knock and never learn. Can't afford these mistakes if you want to win. And I'd assume that it's just the adjustment period. Because of the fact that it is raining out there, maybe we'll give them 1 or 2 handling errors at the start, Fiji. But they can't afford too many more than that. Agree, Big Rig. The match earlier seemed to last about half an hour. Says JB and Ireland 7-0. Says Suckable. It is a good clearing kick from Fiji. Or is it? No. Oh. Touch judge there was going to say it was taken back by Fiji. Referee said, no, you don't. Go back to where it was. Australia looked like the All Blacks in disguise. Says Stephen there too. But the call from Caleb Muntz. Just try and kick that one downfield. Show it to them, Fiji. Says Jimmy Lay. And yeah, it would be a massive win for the Fijians if they were to pull it off. Definitely up against a side like France, who have been strong throughout recent times, although coming off a loss. Maybe that hurts the confidence of Les Bleus a little bit. Now rolling maul. This one going back across to the right-hand side. Maxime Luku, great straightening run there from Barassi. Passes across. What an ankle tap that is, but they won't be able to stop him. Nicolas Deportier scores it between the posts, and France have struck first in this contest. Mac Hansen scored it, says Big Rig, and go Fiji go, says Malika there. Yeah, Maxime Luku, it was just a piercing run from Barassi. Looked like Viliami Mata was trying to cut him off. Didn't quite have the pace to go with it. And then that attacking run forward from Barassi to Deportier, who went straight through the gap. Early tries all round. Yeah, both games have had an early try at this point in time. Imagine how strong Fiji would be if all the Fijian ball players played for Fiji. Says on the right. They would be an extremely formidable side, that is for sure. They are still a formidable side even without those certain players. I have to say that Fiji, you know, you look at the guys that they're missing from this lineup. You're missing Naif Belevu. You're missing Albert Tuisui. There is Frank Lamani. There's Vinaya Habosi. There's Semi Randradra. Like, the list does go on. But that kick has gone over from France. And that now makes the score 7-0 in the favour of the home side. And that is exactly what they would have been wanting, just to break up that Fijian attack. Can someone explain to me why Wales celebrated like they won the World Cup after that win? Does it have something to do with the World Cup draw? A little bit. They are still sitting in 12th at the moment, I believe. So Japan's still below them in 13th. But I think it's also just so much frustration for Wales. Like, they've had a tough road. And I think it's the fact that they were able to pull off a home win Yes, they were able to get that win in Japan up against the Japanese, but to do it in front of a home crowd that have stuck by them through all of their losses in a row, like, that was a very special moment for Wales, no matter who they were facing. We have got there now, bud. Your friend cannot commentate like you do. I will stick around here. Says Yuri, we are going to be popping over at the end of that live stream. Penalty goes against Gregory Aldrit. Does mean that Caleb Muntz, they have got the option of going for the corner or going for the 3 points. I think that they will consider the 3 here, and Taveta Ikanaveri backs that up. And bad sign for Fiji. They are told it somehow affects the pool. 13th likely to face top 2 teams. 12th only 1. Says Yanko. Yeah, so it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, you've got that round of 16, which still, like, the round of 16 means that pretty much everyone who's decently ranked will go through at this point in time, or at least it seems that way. We have got the my favourite passage of Lay This Autumn UK is an Australian try, soft hands at speed. Says JB. And now Caleb Muntz lining up this strike. Ready to, tell you what, he's hooked that badly, Caleb Muntz. That frustration shown straight away, apologising. Hasn't been a good day to be a goal kicker, I have to say, unless your name's Andre Pollard, but you're expected to get them all over if your name's Pollard anyway. And how have Fiji surpassed Samoa? Says Anthony. Is in the rankings. At the moment, Fiji, they are sitting in 9th. But if they were to win this game, they would go right up to 7th, which could be a massive boost. Samoa down in 17th in the world rankings. They play Belgium midweek, and we are going to be covering that game on the channel. Grey overcast morning here in Nundy. Give us some sunshine, Ravatamunda. Says Samuela now inside of their own 22. France looking to move this one away to the left-hand side. BLBRA waiting for it, but does not get the pass. And there's a penalty going against the Fijians. I believe that was for a high shot from Tuisova. He apologises to Barassi, gives him a bit of a hug as well. Handsome with the double. Jeez. Ireland going for it in that game. Ireland scored again, taking the Aussies apart. And to be fair, Ford did all right. Ford did very well in that number 10 jersey, didn't he? Did he miss any? George Ford? I can't think of one that he missed, actually, so he's right up there too. Big collision, yeah, just riding up a little bit too high from Tuisova. And Kuravoli is a good kicker, better than Muntz, says Teresa there. And Aussies, not the French, says Big Rig. And another try for Ireland. They are all over the Aussies, says Big Rig. But now, nicely taken. And the line out. Here comes a rolling ball from the French. Julien Marchand leading the way at the back. There is another penalty advantage against the Fijians. Maxime Luku goes across to Gregory Aldrit. Now trying to get the steal. Unable to do so. Chopping tackle low. Ball looked loose, but it did go backwards, says the referee. Maxime Luku now setting up his back line again. Now, if this game is anything like we're seeing between Ireland and Australia, it means that France should be able to score again in the very near future. Backline movement, going out to Pinot. Ball knocked down by Fiji, surviving, but they'll go back for another penalty. We can only judge Ford against decent opposition. Says Stephen, well, it's nice to see that you're almost sounding like you're half by getting back behind your English, Stephen, in this case. I know that it's more of an insult towards the ABs, but it does sound like you're defending the English, which is almost uncharted territory. Ireland just scored with a deja vu play. Hansen under the post twice, says Thuds Rugby. Thuds Rugby stuff. Name change in the house for yourself, Thuds Ray. Ambula Hamish says Jimalai. The penalty goes the way of France. This one again, it looks like they are looking towards the corner. I'm Fijian, but these clowns will get hammered by France. So you're going to keep us updated on the Ireland Wallabies game? I can do. Currently, we have got another live stream going on at the moment. Rugby Itch is doing that one. But currently 14-0 in favour of the Irish. Not the start to the match at all that Australia would have been after for just the first about 12 minutes. The match feels like it's going to be a long day for Fiji. It certainly will be, but they will learn a lot from this contest. Julien Marchand. Penalty goes the way of Fiji. Transferred to the back man of the maul. A bit of a mistake made there from Les Bleus. That will be a frustrating one for Galtier. If Hansen can keep up this pace, he should have 8 tries by halftime, says Yanko. And doesn't make any sense, really. No matter the opposition, the place kicking is the same, says Big Rick. Yeah. Not finding touch for Fiji. That hurts. After they've just done all the hard work of winning themselves a penalty, they go out there and they end up giving the ball straight back to France. around the halfway line. Big two-man tackle by Timo Mainavanua as well as Asoa Nasila. Do you think Mostert's card will be rescinded? It should be, but it won't be, unfortunately. That is going to be another penalty, this time going against Fiji. I can't understand why Australia have had such a drop in form, says Stephen. And wasn't Hanson born in Australia? Yeah, I think so. He used to play for the Brumbies in Super Rugby. And where did you go? I thought I saw you doing the Welsh game. I was not. No, that was the game that we were missing. And it's a shame because it was such a tremendous contest. And the Ember Roman Intermac this time kicking it for the corner. Making sure that one goes out, learning from Fiji's mistakes. Our feedback suggests that Thuds Rays was a bad name for a channel. Well, I guess in terms of, like, even Thuds Rugby probably would have been... Like, I like Thuds Rugby stuff, though. Stuff's very Kiwi, you know, in terms of... Sounds casual, but at the same time, there's a bit of professionalism there. All ball stolen by Fiji again. Backline movement. Celestino Ravatomanda goes off to Salisi Rayasi. He's got one of the longer left boots around, and that is a very nice kick to reprieve some pressure. Barassi staying down with a bit of an injury here. A shame it was a great game, says Big Rig. And who would have thought it would be so much better than the Box Italy, says Big Rig Joe there. And is there a reason why you say Julian the Spanish way? Probably because we cover more Spanish than French games. Right, it sounds like there's a bit of a push there. Oh, we'll get there. Fiji giving possession away, says YouTube user. Right, they're going upstairs to check this here. Now, anytime there is a TMO involved in a match involving Fiji, it's normally against Fiji. Unfortunately, that is just the trend that they do have. So we're about to find out the Racing winger. So that is Gita Waininolo. Or is it? Is it Celestino Ravotamanda? Who are we looking at here? It's a collision, but there is a mitigation factor in terms of the fact that he does get knocked into the path of the shoulder. Celestino Ravotamanda. Initially, he was probably going to miss him. This is possibly a yellow card, though, for Fiji, and that is the last thing that they need in this game. Why this game over Ireland, I ask respectfully. The Irish game is live on the channel at the moment for Ireland versus Australia. We have got Rugby Itch covering that match. Pretty much the reasoning behind it is nothing cynical whatsoever. It's just, I asked him if he was willing to fill in to do one of the two games. He said yes, and I said, since you're willing to fill in, which game would you like to cover? And he said Ireland versus Australia. But that is a yellow card and a review for the Celestino Ravotamanda yellow here. Ref already has a yellow in hand. And Ireland 14-0 against Australia currently. And Fiji has so much going against them. But I'm for Fiji no matter what. Toso fiti toso, says Jim and Lai there. Okay, the commentators are not happy about that yellow card. They are saying he was knocked into the flight path of the French player. Looks like Barassi is actually going off with a head knock. And Galeton makes his way on. Fiji never changed too much mistakes. And bunker review even. Yeah, so they have now got 10 minutes to decide whether or not that is worthy of being upgraded. But now, ready to kick this one. Roman Intermac. Ireland are all over Australia. Aussies are going to need to poke up the bum at halftime. Says Big Rick. Anson is a true blue Aussie. Says, was there from Johnny Blaze. Right now, calling for the ball here. It's going to be Julien Marchand. Ready to get this one moving. And this is where the rolling maul can be so dangerous for the French. Nicely thrown in and well taken by Charles Olivon. Finds himself in the locking duo for this contest. Oz trying to respond right now. I think they may have scored themselves a try by the looks of it, the Aussies. But now rolling maul chance for the French. They are over the try line. Christophe Ridley sees the grounding. And it is try number 2 for the French. After 14 minutes, I think it may be Julien Marchand who pops up with the ball, although it kind of looks like Biel Biarray, who might have gotten a little bit of credit for that one. I'm not sure how the wingers ended up in the middle of the rolling maul, but he will be successful in that rolling maul. I'm trying to find him. And there, where is Biel Biarray, and how does he end up with the ball in hand? Or at least he may have been on the wing, or at least on the arm of Julien Marchand. Ikatel with the try. Says Lyle there. I had to say it, Aussies just got an amazing try, says Big Rig there. And yes, Australia says Sakabola. Now 15 minutes through, is Rugby Itch going to cover the World Cup? or is Studies going to be in the way? Probably in the way, I would think, his Studies, depending on how far through he's still got remaining. I'm on the lawns, but having a rest, it's so hot. So here's Johnny Blaze. Now Ramos to line up this kick and does slot it over, making the score now 14-0 in favour of the French. I realised that my scoreboard wasn't updating, but now it has 15 minutes down in this matchup. And it's been a good start to the contest here for the French. And over there with the rolling maul. Yeah, it does seem like Biel was the man who actually got credit for that rolling maul. I still don't understand how that man ended up in the middle of it, but it worked out. Raining cats and dogs in Dublin. So here's Sakabula. And there as well. But now kicked off by the Fijians. And again, they have to fire back as quickly as physically possible. Maxime Luku going to be rolling this one back. And it just seems like now the French are starting to find their stride. They're in control here. Oh, that one's going to be slapped to the side. Loose ball picked up. Viliami Mata. It's now on the side of the Flying Fijians. And thanks, Hamish. I thought that was a major success by South Africa in this day and age against a professional team, a man down for 70. See his cool story. Now Kuravuli told to use it once more. France don't seem to be going for those. Oh, that's kicked out on the full from Simeone Kuravuli. A big mistake from the Fijian. Biel Biarray thought about going quickly. Bad sign for Fiji. Same problem against England. Says Teresa there. It'll be interesting to see if they're all Hulk green by halftime. Says Yanko. How many years does Rugby still have of studying? He will be able to answer that much better than myself. Your score is not updating, says Pedro. It has now. It's currently 14-0 after the 17 minutes. And the contest nicely claimed by Charles Olivon. Now across to the right-hand side. A collision there. And a solid tackle made by Elia Thanakoivata. Jean-Baptiste Gru. Oh, looks like one of the Fijians staying down for a bit of time. That was Viliami Mata, who is now back up on his feet. Loose ball. France having a little bit of a mistake there. Biel Biarray getting ripped down by Gita Wanyanyolo. How's the game going? It's going well for France at the moment. Fiji haven't had a massive amount of attacking chances, but trying to enforce some physicality now. Cross kick from Roman Intermac. And it goes straight into the hands of Salisi Arayasi. Great tackle made from Damien Pinot twice in a row, but now the big fend coming in from Calaveti Ravovo. Oh, that was dirty. And the breakdown, that was ripped away by France, I believe, or at least it looked that way in the replay, or in live time, I should say, from 5 to 14. Yeah, so they had 7-0 and then they went to 14-0. And now ball on the outside, engaging in some challenges there for Ilia Thanakoivata. Oh, well, everyone is asking Hamish these details about Rugby Itch. What's his grandma's favourite colour? Hamish says Yanko. Now off to the left-hand side, short pass. Celestino. Or in fact, that time it was Salisi Rayasi. Still another 5 minutes remaining of Celestino Ravatomanda's yellow card. Passed on the outside. Little hand from Damien Pinot. Bit too casual from Fiji. And they give the ball back to France. Now passed across one more. Bit of space. Now Biel Biarray. This is such a dangerous play. He's going to go on the inside to Charles Olivon, who scores the try for France. And that is number 3. And some of his Belgian kickoff time, Tuesday, anyone says, JB, for us here in New Zealand, it is early in the morning. I believe it is a 4:30 a.m. kickoff for us here. And that one will be the one that determines who goes through to the Rugby World Cup. But it was that Damien Pinot read there, managed to find the ball above his head. Toso Viti Toso says Orami, and Too Easy says Big Rig. And there as well. But Biel Biarray with the pass to Charles Olivon. Okay, live he had it flat is the comment there from Christoph Ridley in terms of whether or not that pass went forward or backwards. It is going to be the try. France get the third. Keep in mind, after 60 minutes, Fiji will be knackered and France will still be pushing. See, here's Big Rig. Now Ramos. Ready to go for this conversion. Oh, hang on. Oh, they're going to check this one now, ladies and gentlemen. It seemed like for a start that they weren't going to be going the way. As the other guy covering the Island game, that is Rugby Itch. He is someone who we've done a few collaborations with in the past. And he has very graciously given up his time to be able to help me out, seeing as World Rugby did not, by making these two games on at the exact same time. Kuravuli says Patrick there. And Lifeline for Fiji says Big Rick. And France just too strong. Okay, nothing clear, no lifeline for Fiji. It is awarded as the try. And Ramos will now have the opportunity to add the additional 2. Currently a quarter of the way through this contest. And gave up his Saturday. What a nice guy. Says Big Rig. Yeah, it's also, I think it's quite late in the evening for him. He is flat out with study for university and whatnot, doing a degree. But still managed to squeeze a couple hours free for us on the channel. That kick has gone over 21 points to 0. They teased the lifeline, then shot them. Says Big Rig. Yeah, they said, hang on, there's a chance that it's not. No, it is a try. That's about all Fiji got from that one, unfortunately. And I gave you and Rugby a like. But now I'm leaving you both because of pure hatred. See you next time. Says Cool Story. So we will see you later on. But Fiji, to kick this one off again, they are still playing with the 14 men on the field. Currently 21-0. Kicked off by Caleb Muntz. Taken by Maxime Luku. Now, this one goes into touch. Sitting around the halfway line at this current point in time. Oh. Okay, it's going to remain as a yellow card. Says Marius van der Vesterhuizen. Because of the mitigation of the player being pushed into the tackler, that is why it does remain as the yellow rather than being upgraded for the Fijians. Imagine if Fiji end up winning from here. It would be insane. All I'm going to say is the odds at the moment have Fiji as $51 underdogs. So normally, if you are a $51 underdog, you are not giving them much of a chance in the match. But who knows? Fiji are one of those unpredictable teams that, honestly, if they get a little bit of a rhythm going and score twice in 5 minutes, you'd think they'd have a little bit of a shot. If Aussie's fighting back. Says Lyle in there. There's an advantage now for offside. Now Viliami Mata trying to pierce his way through, but a good advantage to have here if you are Fiji. And it's hard to watch these Fiji Islander. Yeah, it just seems like they haven't quite found their stride in the early stages. Told me he still has 2 years left. First year done and dusted. And hi, folks. I had a very nice time at French boss's birthday party. And now, another one round the halfway line. Fiji can't. Says a YouTube user. Oh, Muntz has made sure that one's gone out. He has not taken any risks, like we saw earlier on in the game where he wasn't quite able to find the sideline like he would have liked to. But yeah, currently 14 points to 7 in that other match taking place between Ireland and Australia. This one thrown in, nicely taken. This one moving forward quite nicely at the moment for the Fijians. Davida Ikanaveri, another advantage going in favour of the Fijians. The best thing for them at the moment would be if France end up with a yellow card here. But Davida Ikanaveri taking the contact. Simeone Kuravuli trying to recycle it quickly. Fiji, tell you what, France were up very quick there, but a good run from Ikanaveri, almost going through. Offload up to Timo Mayanavanoa. Another offload for Fiji to Asoa Nasilasila. This is the Fijian style that people have come to love. 5 phases in. Now Joshua Tuisova, 2-man tackle on him by Pinot and Ramos. Elia Thanakaivata, they're trying to chop him down. Fiji 7 metres out from the try line, trying to milk the penalty advantage, and he does just that, Kuravuli. Now 5 metres out, and the penalty is awarded. They're 5 metres out here, Fiji. They may have to consider going for the quick tap and go. Hello again, Hamish. 60 people invited and live band playing. Says Ruth. And see, French are doing all right. And this French side is too strong, says V. They've had a very good start to this contest, the French. Going quick from the very start. That one's going to go into touch. Fiji 5 metres out from the try line. We see there, Kuravuli. He did milk that penalty, made sure that he passed it straight into Tofa Whanua. I think that's a late change as well, because Miafu was Miafu off the bench for the French. I think that actually he's nowhere in this game. And ball stolen for France. Maybe Fiji should have instead looked at that quick tap option. You'll have your moments. Fiji, stay in there. I think I'm right here. There's 47 European national side sponsored by World Rugby. Says JB. Now this one's going to be kicked downfield by the French, clearing the lines and managing to keep it in the field of play. Salisi Areasi getting the pass. A breakthrough, but Olivon takes him down low. Kuravuli again. Across to Caleb Muntz. They are on the halfway line at the moment for Fiji. Nice step, beautifully done by Gita Wainaniolo. Sits down another defender. That time it was Biel Biare Viliami Mata. Offloading now to it was Kalaviti Ravovo. They move that ball around so quickly, Fiji. It is very hard to call out every single player who touches the ball, but Muntz goes across Tui Sova. Numbers on the outside. Little grubber attempted him on. Bit of a different tactic from Salisi Reasi. And back there to cover was Damien Pinot. Will be the goal line dropout. Fiji is always a solid team, but small things let them down. Fiji also has fighting power. Go Fiji, go. Can't get subtitles, says Eric. And also Bulaviti Toso says Amanaisi. And Ireland held up by Oz, and who scored the try so far in this match? We have seen a try for Biel Biarray. We saw the try for Charles Olivon, and also the try for Deportier. Can you please tell me, how did South Africa get red card for a tackle? And Wales got a yellow for an even more dangerous hit in the ruck? Great question. And I can't tell you the answer. I don't know what the system was that they were going by there. And move France, says Kathy. Salisi Rayasi. Going across again into the hands of Elia Thanakai-Vata. Plays a very good game of rugby for the Fijian Roa. And he can really be versatile anywhere in that loose forward trio. I think they've realised they have to shut down Gita Wainaniolo because that man is so dangerous with ball in hand. Now Celestino Ravatomanda dragged down by Biel Biarray. Bit of a counter ruck from France. Not quite going through. Peter Gasoa just setting this one. Couple French players not rolling away in the breakdown. Did French get a red card? They did not. Fiji did have a yellow card earlier on. That ball's going to be knocked back for the Fijians. Bit of a wide cut-out pass from Gita Wainaniolo. Now Ilya Thanakai-Vata trying to get rid of Damien Pinot, who hangs on to him and drives him into touch. Hamish, you're looking awesome. I've been at it for hours now, still going strong. Says Ruth there. Yeah, 21-0 at the moment. A little bit more one-sided than we would have liked to see for these two sides. And Hanson with a hat-trick already. Is he the only one out there on the field for Ireland? Are they just going to his wing all the time, or is it just the fact that he's right place, right time? I like Tim from Egg-Chasers said, flowchart officiating, says Sakabula. And Fiji says bite there. Currently, Fiji have had more territory in this contest, but less possession to go alongside it. Wait, it's seriously Hanson again. Yeah, by the sounds of it, he has got himself his third of the contest. And come on, Fiji, our Southern Hemisphere teams are getting smashed. Aussie losing at the moment. One's going to be kicked high by Maxime Luku and slapped back by the Fijians. Ilya Thanakai-Vata. We'll be waiting for this next pass. He's always lurking, getting ready for those breakdowns. Simeone Kuravuli going back across. No look pass from Timo Mayanavunua. Seems like France are doing very well in terms of that rush defense, shutting down the Fijians on attack. Salisi Reasi. Bumping off there was Masaki Donge. Another spin attempted by Asoa Nasilasila. This is a nice phase play from the Fijians again. They are doing very well when it comes to having that ball in hand. Gita Wainaniolo almost going through again. Now Simeone Kuravuli, inside ball, almost through. Yes, he is. Kalaviti Ravovo will score the try. Oh my goodness, Maxime Luku's just KO'd himself on the post. Is he okay? I don't know what happened to Maxime Luku there, but Ravovo scored. Maxime Luku ran through, couldn't stop himself, and went smack bang into the side of the goalpost. Luckily, they put some pads on those things, because or else then that could have been really bad for Maxime Luku. It's a really unfortunate one, but I kind of want to see the replay. Yeah, he just runs straight into it, Maxime Luku. That is such a hard collision for that man. No donuts today, says Big Rig there, but try for the Fijians. Maxime, oh my goodness, he has hit that post hard. That is brutal for Maxime Luku. It was a good chase, don't get me wrong. He committed, but geez, that's a hard shot. Yes, Fiji says Sakabula. That is why they put the posts on the pads. That's all I'm going to say. Or posts on the post. Pads on the post. There we go. We got there in the end. On a pitch full of Fijians, I'd also rather run into the post, says Youngko. And that kick has gone over from Simeone Kuravuli, who looks like he has taken over kicking responsibilities from Caleb Muntz. But that makes the score now 21-7. Still in favour of the French, but a great break of the line. It was Montanga as well as Taufifanua. He just stopped so fast. He was running at a good probably 25 Ks just to then hit a brick wall. I saw Liner play a game for Australia. You're probably thinking of Tom Liner, who was able to play for the Aussies not too long ago. I don't think he's playing in this game, though, is he, Tom Liner? James O'Connor starting lineup. And I'm not too sure who's off the bench. But now, 30 minutes into this contest. And 14 points separating these two sides. Currently, the 12 points separating Ireland and Australia. So actually, kind of similar scorelines in some regards. In fact, very similar. Just a missed kick from the Irish is the only difference. And England did great. New Zealand had a huge mountain to climb. Says Roof, Simeone Kuravuli told to use it. Can't take too long, but he does now kick it downfield. Bit of an awkward one here. Nice take in the air from the French. Biel Biarray just kind of collapsing in front of about 3 of the Fijian forwards. He realised he was about to get smashed and said, no, I'll just avoid that. Raman Intimac going off to the right-hand side. Ramos shoveling it on the outside. This is nice work from France. Damien Penaud back to Ramos, back to Penaud. Playing a game of table tennis between the two of them. And now Julio Marchand's playing football. He's knocked that one off. Fiji take the ball back again. 38 metres out from the try line. Looked like he was looking for the pass, Masaki Donge, but Peter Gasoakula wasn't ready for it. Simeone Kuravuli going in behind Salisi. Rayasi tries the short pop pass to Celestino Ravotamunda. They're starting to lose metres here, Fiji. They just need to find that next gap in the French defence. 40 metres away from the French try line. French has given it all here. Oh, beautiful offload from Fiji. I believe that would have been Viliami Mata, who did shift it onwards. Now off to the left-hand side again. Caleb Muntz. Tackle on Misaki Donge. Hurimoshon trying to get the steal in the breakdown. And isn't quite able to. If Fiji can score again before half-time, this game is well and truly on. In the second half, ladies and gents, close to the clean-out from Ilia Thanakoivata. Peter Gasoakula, they are still sitting around that 40 metres out for Fiji, but I feel like they just have to keep on going phases here and wait for that next gap to open up rather than taking a risk and doing something silly here. They can just keep on trying to bulldoze and wear down this French defence. Come on, Fiji, says Big Rig. And didn't travel 3,000 miles just to lose, says Big Rig. Yeah, they have got their game up against Spain next week, which they will come into with a little bit of confidence. Although, to be fair, Spain really did push England, eh? Bit of a counter-ruck there from the French, trying to kick it back in the breakdown. That was playing the ball on the ground from France's forward pack. And that is actually Bodient, who has made his way onto the field. And looks like maybe a bit of an injury for Taufa Whanua too, as he's helped back to his feet by Maxime Luku. What did you think New Zealand should have done better today? Their selections probably is the big one, but no, it's very easy to say that after the match, but no, they just didn't look like they were on the same page, a couple of the guys in the side. And England were okay. Dreadful line-out stats, though. Score would have been much wider had England been firing on all cylinders. However, in reality, neither side played their best, says Akaris. Yeah, I was surprised to see 6 line-outs, 1, 6 lost for the English in that game. Spain versus Belgium feels like a Rugby World Cup, or a Football World Cup game, not rugby. Spain are in the World Cup, says Big Rig. And there as well, and also, let's go Fiji, says Leo Tina, and they are hanging in there at the moment. Just waiting to find out what choice the Fijians are making. I think they've got to go for the corner here. I don't want to see them aim at the posts. This is one of those scenarios where if you can make the absolute most of it and keep that pressure applied, you do it. And to be fair, I thought England and New Zealand both played well. Says Big Rig. England bulldozed the All Blacks, and also not like either team collapsed. Says a Big Rig there too. Yeah, I think that the post-match was interesting for the Kiwis because they pretty much said we had some really good moments, but it wasn't enough to kind of mitigate the bad moments that we also had. How old is O'Connor? Been playing for ages. I think he's about 34, 35, somewhere around there. I had stupid red cards. That's true. Only 1 yellow card in that game. Or sorry, 2. 1 per team. Line out throw for the Fijians. The ball stolen by France again. I mean, clinical at the moment in the line out steals that. It's now 2 that they've been able to get, but Fiji looking to take that ball straight back with Joshua Tuisova. Maxime Luku just sends it downfield. That is a very good kick from the pressure that he was under. And Rabiotto and the Irish in the Aussie match, he certainly is. Oh, Salisi Reasi. That looked like it was almost kicked out on the full, but I believe he was just inside of his 22. And in the end, that turns into a very rewarding kick for the Fijians, but a great steal at line-out time from France. Yet again, France want this win. They absolutely do. They do not want to be sitting 0 from 2 in their November internationals, heading into the game next week up against the Australians. And Buller from Fiji says, Gibson, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. The Fijians, they conceded a few early tries, but from there starting to find their momentum back in this contest. Big chopping tackle from Ikanaveri. Did I miss any cards? You missed the one. One for Celestino Ravotomunda. Nice take from Muntz under the high ball. Again, a great tackle made by Damien Pinot. Going for a little bit of a counter-ruck there from the French, but the ball is there for Kuravuli. And French are hurting, says Lyle. Antimag name is synonymous with French rugby, says Samuela. Oh, ball is there again. A little bit loose at the moment from Fiji, and that is down to that extra bit of pressure and the breakdown that France are trying to create. And the scoreboard isn't. Says a big rig in there too. Now roll back, Kuravoli. Gets this one up high. Does get it down towards our halfway line. That looked like a forward pass. Yes, it was for the French. Just a bit of a mistake. I don't even think it was a purposeful pass. It was just more so the case that they were going for the play pretty much, and it just didn't quite sit right in the hands for Pinot. He actually accidentally knocked it into the hands of Maxime Luku. I got there, the scoreboard isn't for the French hurting, but Damien Pinot, he's frustrated. He's such a dangerous player, and if he starts finding his rhythm, I do think that the Fijians will be in a little bit of trouble. But at the moment, that physicality and the tempo that Fiji are willing to play this game at does seem to be wearing down the French. Now, whether or not Fiji can maintain that for 80 minutes, we will soon know. But for now, it's been 35 minutes of Fiji staying at the same tempo as we're seeing from the French, which I feel like is great news. That's kind of a big confidence booster for this Fijian side. Just having a quick look at the moment, 37 minutes through in that Ireland versus Australia game, and it looked like Australia were on the attack. Where's Les Bleus? He is missing from this game. I'm not sure if that's injury related or just rotation. It's France trying to make a statement. I'd say a little bit, but it's hard to make a statement up against the Fijians because normally, you know, you may make one, but you also have a few broken ribs in the process. Now, a drop ball from Celestino Ravotomunda. Bit of a mistake there from the Fijian winger. Speed of the ball from the ruck is too slow, allowing French defence to form, says Fiji Islander. And that is where Fiji was so dangerous when they were getting that ball moving in quick fashion. Caleb Muntz will kick that one into touch. That's a decent clearing kick again. Rugby Itch is saying he's going to miss the first couple of weeks of the World Cup if everything is going according to plan, says Mornay. And too many Fijian handling errors, says Yanko. Yeah, that one for Celestino Ravotomunda, that was just an open play, and no one touched him at the time that he did drop that ball. It's not like it was the collision, the super hard tackle from France that made it slip out. It was literally just the slippery ball got out of his fingertips. But I mean, they're playing their A side, says a doctor. Yeah, I think that this is, well, that's the thing. This is probably considered more of their A side than the match that they played up against the Box in terms of that lineup. Nicely taken. Now France making a bit of a mistake. Salisi Reasi going on the outside to Celestino Ravotomunda, 40 metres out now, short side. Gita Wanyanyolo, beautiful hands from the Fijians. Kalaveti Ravovo getting in a good fend and also winning that penalty advantage. They're trying to ask for the penalty for him not rolling away as 5 Fijians were lying on top of him. The referee says no, but they have still got that penalty advantage anyway. Simeone Kuravuli going back across to Masaki Donge, colliding with Aldrit, who has no longer got that headgear on. Fiji has to win, says Bite, and they will go back for the initial penalty now in favour of the Flying Fijians. Ravotomunda, too many mistakes. Yeah, he's had a bit of a rough start to this contest. He's had that yellow card. He's dropped the ball. And it was today the first game Holland hasn't played in all year. Maybe. I know that he had a couple games off the bench where he got very limited game time, but it may have been the first game that he hasn't at least featured in some form, I believe. It did seem to have a bit of an impact on the Kiwis as well. It's a nice kick for touch. 22 metres out from line, and Fiji again have got themselves the attacking opportunity. And Joshua Tuisova playing a solid game. He's been working hard out there on the field for Tuisova. I also think that Kalaveti Ravovo has been having a spectacular start to this contest. You know, it's always very hard to overshadow someone like a Tuisova. So if you can even be in line with them, nice short side play, grab it in mind from Davida Ikanaveri, Gelange, having a jump on that one. Currently sitting 10 metres out from their own line, France. The set piece didn't quite work out for Fiji that time. I was just reading that an American 17-year-old girl became the youngest person ever to pass the bar. She's a lawyer. Education is important, says Big Rick. That one kicked in a touch and 25 metres out from the line. Fiji, again, have got themselves the line-out chance. Their midfield is quite solid. Yeah, and I feel like Rivovo was one of those players that for a while, like, he didn't really get a huge amount of credit for what he was able to do. I do see that Australia have scored just before the halftime break in their match up against the Irish as well. So that one is a bit of a back-and-forth encounter between the two sides. That one's nicely taken by Peter Gus Soakola. Now Kuravuli goes back across Muntz. Offload there for Fiji in the middle of the field. Ilya Thanakaivata gets it up to Kuravuli. Fiji trying to use it that quickly that even their defensive line or their attacking line wasn't set in that scenario. Kuravuli, going across again to Timo Maya Navanoa. Another advantage for Fiji. Masaki Donga, Caleb Muntz finds the offload away again. Celestino Rabotomanda cutting through, and Fiji score themselves another try in this contest just before the halftime break. There are way too many similarities between this game and Ireland versus Australia at the moment. An Aussie try right before halftime, says Big Rick, and a Fijian try just before halftime as well. So it's just one of those days, it would seem, that it's going to be just 50-50 in both of the games. But that is exactly what Fiji needed. Great line speed by Fiji, and just that physicality. We see Simeone Kuravuli joining in the diving celebration. Maxime Luku just got bumped off by Ravotomanda after we had just criticised him for not having his best game. He comes out and he breaks two defenders. And yeah, Luku is so frustrated with that missed tackle, as it does give the momentum to Fiji heading into this halftime break. But the score, 21 points to 14 if this kick goes over, which it does. So that makes the score now 21-14 heading into the second half. That is a solid first 40 minutes from the Fijian underdogs. France, they started off extremely well, but then from there, it just seemed like there was a little bit of a mistake. We have Rugby Itch celebrating an Australian try. He probably doesn't like Ireland. He's certainly entertaining in his celebration. Says Mornay, he has got an Irish kit, Rugby Itch. Fun fact. So I don't think he dislikes the Irish. He's also got an Irish passport, I believe. And I love how their nine also took the dive over the try line. Didn't even have the ball, says Yanko. Yeah, I think he was pretty excited there, Simeone Kuravuli. But halftime in this contest, I believe it is just about halftime in the game between Ireland and Australia as well. Halftime in this one, 21-14. Halftime in that one, 19-14. She's a close game across the board. And it just shows, once again, I'm going to say it, and I don't want to offend them, but I will, the stupidity of World Rugby to have these two games on at the same time. Like, these are two fantastic matches that put on at different times. Everyone, I believe anyway, would want to keep an eye on both of them. But sadly, they have to choose between one or the other. Rugby Itch not as a neutral, or not as neutral as Hamish says, Sakabula. And there as well. Looks like he's just broken his camera, Rugby Itch. Oh no, he's fixed it now. I have got him down here just to keep an eye on him and make sure everything's running smoothly. And Tosso Fiji Tosso says Ski in there as well. Yeah, at the moment, close game between these two sides. The type of matchup that you do want to see. One that can go down to the wire. And it all relies on how Fiji start the second half now. We know that France will be strong in the final 20. But French doing quite nicely. I agree, Hamish. France must be careful not to give Fiji too much ball in the second half. Well, rugby seriously needs sorting out. Yeah, because it's not like, for instance, there's not a massive amount of games that are happening tomorrow. You know? So, worst comes to worst. I know that this is harsh, and I don't mean it to sound too bad, but have one of these two matches happening at the same time as Wales versus Japan, right? That sounds harsh on those two sides. But when you think about it in the world rankings, like Japan versus Wales is 12 versus 13. And in this scenario, you've got 9 versus 5 taking place at the same time as it would be 4 versus 8. or 7, in fact. 4 versus 7, and also 9 versus 5. Those games should be nowhere near overlapping. And yeah, exactly, says Yanko. I'll move a second game to Sunday. Exactly. There's that free window. We saw it next week on the schedule. It is going to be Tonga versus Scotland as the early game. So, like, they can do that. Our Wales-Japan game was spectacular. It was. And the one good thing about that game having its own designated time slot is that so many people got to enjoy those two sides go to a last-minute thriller. But just in terms of the planning from the get-go, I would have thought that that game would be one that they'd be willing to overlap with rather than like these two. Felt so bad for Japan, so close there, Sakabula there. And they have a whole Sunday as well. But they are squeezing in everything on Saturday. Okay, now you've basically spelled out all of my thoughts, says Yanko. But the thing is, it's not even like, it's not an unpopular opinion. You know how sometimes you have one and people are like, no, you're just wrong? When it comes to the rugby schedule, everyone agrees except for World Rugby in terms of what the like schedule should look like. Like, yeah, it's just weird. I get that it's like broadcasters and they have the time that they like. I told you ages ago, World Rugby couldn't run a bath. Our Welsh did well held on for the win. Says Ruth there. And also Ramos. He's been quiet in this game, Thomas Ramos, hasn't he? Now we've got the Fiji will win. They've already beaten France in the Autumn Tour in 2018, says Nasani. And yeah, they're doing very nicely at the moment. They, at one point in this game, were $51 underdogs, right? They are currently $13 underdogs in this game up against the French. Now, I feel like anyone who tries to back them will probably jinx them at this stage. But $51 underdogs to now only be down by 7 is absolutely massive for the Flying Fijians. Like the confidence that they've been able to show throughout the second half of that first 40 minutes is thoroughly impressive. A lot of math going on here, says Bones there. And weren't they 50 earlier? Says Big Rig, they were. So at 19 or at 21-0, Fiji were $51 underdogs. And now, now it's 13, I think I just said. If Rugby Itch celebrating an Australian try, why not celebrating an Irish try? He's probably supporting the underdogs. I think that's what happens. He does love an underdog story. He is used to supporting a side that's always the favourite. He is a Springbok supporter, so he enjoys an underdog story, which he doesn't get to experience with his side. Welsh Dragons got booster of confidence, and that Japan game, says Ruth. If your brother covering the Australia game was so confused on that channel now, or is your brother covering the Australia game? He is not my brother. He is Rugby Itch. He has got a YouTube channel, although he hasn't been posting on it for a while, but pretty much, yeah. The two games overlapping, World Rugby's blunder in terms of the scheduling, but I wanted to cover both of these matches, and rightfully so. 21-14 in this game, 19-14 in the other match. But yeah, he is filling in for us, and it is, of course, greatly appreciated. I gave him the option of whether or not he wanted to cover Australia, Ireland, or this match between Fiji and France, and he did pick the Irish and Australian fixture. Vanakaviti says it is Aminasi in there, and also Aussie's coming back. What are your thoughts on the cards this weekend? There's been some poor ones, and I'm just curious to know what happens with Franco Mostert, because if he ends up with a suspension, there's going to be some very angry people around the world of rugby. I can tell you that right now. France Rugby joining Illuminati.org, says Nasoni there. But yes, second half, not a mile away from taking place. What we will do is we will show the benches in this contest, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go like that, and we'll go like that. There we go. So, off the bench for the French, they have got Lamuth, they have got Neti, and that man's name, who I still can't say, which hopefully means he will only get a minute at the end of this game. Arado has already almost made his way onto the field. Taufa Whanua has, and then Bodian, he has as well, due to the earlier injury that we did see for one of the French forwards. And then they have got Galeton, he was on, I think that was for Barassi, who took a head knock. So she's been a physical type of game, and you always have that with Fiji, and perhaps those changes due to injury is actually what has got Fiji into this contest that little bit more. They are making it hard for Les Bleus to be able to hit that ball up without feeling a little bit sore afterwards. And then for the Fijians, still some great options. Ariel Tongyatama, they have got Hereti Atet, Masaki Vothi, Kitioni Salawa, Armstrong Ravula, Mangwala, as a couple other names to mention. Celestino Ravotomanda, had he not scored that last minute try in the first half, he probably would have been making his way from the field, I would think. But Doing all right. In that regard, we have got there. Here's the thing, Hamish. If they don't ban him, there will be an outrage. I think there'll be more outrage if they ban him than if they don't. And Bullocky Lad says, Manu, could your parents adopt him? Is that an option? I think his parents would probably have something to say about that. Okay, thanks, Hamish. What do you think of Razor's excuses at the press conference? Never heard it yet. I didn't get a chance to listen to any sort of press conferences or anything like that. We were pretty much getting ready for this one. We're also doing those 2 reviews. And we have got there, Italy should have won that game today. However, I don't think they believe they could, says Lyle. They just got it wrong. Every time they had an attack inside of the 22, they'd kick the ball away and give it straight back to South Africa. They did that about 7 times. Hoyt on the bench, no way, he is too good, says Dr. V in there. And good start for Fiji now, just another 40 minutes ago, says Treadstone. And they actually didn't look too bad fatigue-wise, the Fijians, for this match. So, that is a promising sign at the moment for them. And, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see whether or not that momentum does continue. All of those names sound like you're spelling out the first half of the New Zealand anthem to me, says Yanko. And also, was it a bad tackle? Was it worthy of a red? I'd say no. I thought penalty only, maybe a yellow if they were being harsh, not a permanent red. And if Sarge just stubbed his toe when making breakfast, Bok fans will be outraged at World Rugby for sabotaging the box of Cheerios, says Big Rick. And 21-14, Fiji had better go Fiji. And also we have got their Fiji is going to win this match, says Makireta. Well, tell you what, they've given themselves a decent chance. Because when they were 21-0 down, it looked like it was done and dusted. They were $51 underdogs at that point in time. Now they are $13 underdogs. They're down by 7 points. There's still a bit of work to do for the Fijians, but it could be worse for them at the moment. So I do think that heading into the second half, if you said to Fiji, you guys are going to be only down by 7, they'd probably say, we'll take that at this point in time. As long as they can keep it close for the final 20 minutes and then try and empty that gas tank. I've got there as well, Fiji fighting hard to get back. And also we got there, Fiji is going to win. And controversy again for the Bok. And yep, Ruth, controversy seems to follow the Boks around, says Sakabula. And there as well. And let's be honest, Russi's experimentation in the red cards made for a far more interesting game. Naming a top side and crushing Italy would have, says Yanko. It probably would have been a less stressful game for a lot of people in that regard. But, the only sad thing, well, there were many sad things about that game, but the biggest thing for me that was sad was the fact that, for one, Ben Jason Dixon comes back from a pretty long layoff to get 12 minutes because he had to be taken off so that they could add in the extra lock. Zachary Porthan, a youngster who was trying to build his confidence in a Springbok kit, pretty much gets taken off straight away because they say, listen, mate, you can't scrummage like Wilco Lowe, so you're gone. And Boan Fenta, a guy who got taken off early last week and was probably promised about 60 minutes or 50 or something like that in this game, then gets taken off about 25 minutes into the game and once again told that he's a terrible scrummager. So, you got some confidence building for some young guys, but there's also a few, there's probably a list of 3 or 4 that are like, wait, am I actually in Rusty's long-term plans, or am I just someone who can be chopped and changed any time that he wants to? And come on, Fiji, love to see these northern teams come to Fiji and play. Yeah, not many do. I think Italy did earn a lot of people's respects, as well as I think it was Scotland who were willing to play Fiji down south. But yeah, you don't really see it too often. On a positive side, Ethan Hooker got his try. That's true. Right at the end of that game, on a personal level, it was sad for quite a lot of guys. Obviously, all the inexperienced guys. But even Sia had to go off early for the second week in a row. And bro, I'm hoping on Fiji. And come on, Fiji, says the Water Parrot. And go Fiji, hard, clean tackles, says Carallo. And that is their key to success. They have played the physical game so far throughout this matchup. I think it's a lack of experience, Amish, says Dr. Vian. Yeah, but, going off early is never going to give you that experience in those big matches that they are looking for. Now, of course, long-term, they may get another opportunity, but, from this game, do you play Ben Jason Dixon next week? Because I thought he looked all right for the first 12 minutes, but now he's gone because we didn't get to see him finish out the game. So I would say he probably doesn't play next week. Might get a game up against Wales if he's lucky, but then if there's an early card, he's probably the first one to go off again. And Bok team selection will be so interesting for Ireland, starting with 14 with 9 on the bench. Or you go the other way and start with 16, so the inevitable red puts you back to normal 15. It'll be a nice vacation if they could stick around an extra week. Says Big Rig there, the box defence. They are taught to tackle in certain innovative styles within the new rules. Kudos to them. Says Bones. A bit worried about the Italians scrummed us today. Yeah, although most of the time they were scrummaging up against 7, weren't they? So I feel like it was a bit of a deceptive stat, you could argue. But then also at times when there were 8, Italy were getting a couple good shoves in, and that was just down to them having their better scrummages back into their side. Second half of this contest, very close. Ireland versus Australia. The second half of that game also just around the corner. Now, that match is just as close, if not a little bit closer than this one. Currently, it does sit 19 points to 14 at halftime. This game is 7 points separating the sides, 21-14. I'm going to mention it one more time, seeing as we are still in this first half break. But World Rugby really dropped the ball with these two games. The fact that they put them on at the exact same time as each other, they've both shown to be competitive, close outings. Yes, Fiji were down 21-0 at one point, but they're fired back. Now, hopefully they do slightly fire back in the second half as well, so that this doesn't become a 40-point difference. And I look like an idiot saying it, but when you've got two sides inside of the top 10 playing each other and two sides also in the top 10 playing each other, they should not be overlapping. They should be at completely different times. I feel Ethan Hooker is better on the wing than the midfield. I'd probably agree. I think that they've got more than enough midfield options. Andre Esterhuizen, Damien Dialendi, Damien Valimza. So I think that Ethan Hooker is much more suited to being out on the wing. World Rugby dropped the ball worse than Willie Leroux. So you lose hosting a World Cup and you beat these international cheats. Go Fiji, says Anthony. Wait, so you lose hosting a World Cup and you beat these international cheats. Go Fiji. Is that talking about, is that France? Because they did win the bidding to get the home World Cup last World Cup, didn't they? Fiji always suffer in the last 20 against the top teams when their big lads are huffing and puffing. This felt like a relatively long halftime break, though, so that may actually favour the Fijians a little bit. I think that France was showing a bit of fatigue at the end of that first half as well. I actually really like Philly. Just was the first name that comes to mind. Says Yanko, and Ben can be a game changer. Says Bones there. But now, second half just about to get underway. For Fiji, they cannot afford to concede early in this one, because if they do, that is probably when they end up costing themselves this game. They can fire back, we've seen it before, but they can't really have too many early on. But Caleb Muntz kicks this one off long, down towards the 22, and Fiji slap it back. Oh, and then it's a knock on, or is it? Referee says, no, we're good to go. So it is going to be play on. Simeone Kuravuli going off to the right-hand side, and Fiji getting themselves the early possession in this half. Now, it did initially look like a knock-on from Masaki Donge, so he'll be quite happy that they did leave that one alone. Hopefully, Fiji will keep it 80 minutes. Says the Water Parrot. Yeah, well, they actually worked into a position of probably having more possession by the end of that first half. Carry forward from Joshua Tuisova. Takes 2 men to drag him down, as it always does. Simeone Kuravuli. Now, low tackle again, Kuravuli. Back across to the right-hand side. Caleb Muntz tries to step through. Manages to break the French tackle. Bumps off Romain Taufifenua twice in a row. And I want to say that's an advantage now in favour of Fiji. Yes, it is Simeone Kuravuli. Little chip in behind. Awkward bouncing one picked up by the French, and that is going to be for offside. Now, the last 2 times that they've gone to the corner, we have actually seen Fiji fail with their line-out. Any cards yet? Just the one for Celestino Rabotomanda. And then he went on to score himself a try. After that whole world and meltdown with the rear card in the bot game. Says Xander, I smell an upset, says Jan. And how could they justify putting 2 big matches on at the same time? I actually have no idea. Like, I assume that it was something to do with maybe both saying this is our broadcast time that we like to use. But that doesn't make sense because South Africa are playing Ireland earlier next week. France, I can understand because they always seem to go for that late kickoff. Maybe it's down to Stan Sport and Australia saying we want to play a game late so that it's morning for us here in Aussie. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it wasn't thought out. Tavita Ikanaveri ready to throw this one in. They're going to the back. That is risky, but it is claimed by Fiji. Peter Sowakula flat ball to Joshua Tuisova. Now, 10 metres out from the line. Kuravuli sells the dummy. He thought there was going to be a gap, but it never opened up. Ilya Whanakaivata tackled low. Now, Tavita Ikanaveri trying to sneak his way through. Jean-Baptiste Grue thought about joining the breakdown. Peter Sowakula. That looked like an accidental, almost obstruction from Fiji. Caleb Muntz hits the ball up. He is not the biggest player out there on the field. In fact, he's one of the smallest, but he is willing to put his body on the line, and that is exactly what Fiji need to do in this game up against Les Bleus if they want a chance of winning. Tavita Ikanaveri again going off to the right-hand side now for Isoana Silla. They're 5 metres out from the line. Fiji skip past Peter Gasoakola. Nice hands on the outside. Sheta Waitanyola. I thought he would have had the pace. Tell you what, he's going to finish it anyway. He stalled out wide. He decided, you know what, I'll wait for these French players to run across so that I can step through 2 of them and then drag the other 2 over. But that is Fiji now back into this contest for the second half. They have gone from 21-0 down to 21-19, from $51 underdogs to probably about 5. But it was a beautiful offload from Salisi Rayasi, and then Shita Waitanyola, he engaged in the contact rather than going for the corner, which he felt like he was going to be pushed into touch. He decided, you know what, 2 of them, oh well, we'll just carry them over. And my Bullets, let's go on what, lads? And Fiji will lose, but they will go down swinging. Sees big rig there. At least I has the right team to get a card, and maybe Fiji also one of the late slot. So it's tomorrow morning for them at home, says Yanko. Yeah, although I do feel like Fiji probably would have accepted whatever time they were given. You know, they just seem like that kind of side that would be literally happy. Oh, shot clock almost reached 0 there. But Kuravuli gets it over. I thought that was marginally after the clock struck 0, so he's probably lucky for that one to count. But the score now 21-21 as Fiji get back into the game right at the start of the second half. French fans booing. The question is, who are they booing? Are they booing the Fijians or are they booing their own side in this scenario? Because it has to be the second one, doesn't it? Because Fiji are starting to pick them apart a little bit, but that is not the way it will stay. I feel like there is still that big moment for France in this game. They've probably still got 3 tries in them. Genuine question. What do they eat in Fiji? Presumably, they don't have the space to keep large amounts of cattle like South Africa, Argentina, and Australia. Do they just import everything? I'd assume so. I don't really know the economic state of Fiji. That's a good kick downfield. In fact, that's a terrific kick from Fiji. Fiji versus France, says Ladua there. French need to put foot on the gas, says Ruth in there too. And good to see Fiji performing. They always look so full of passion for the game. And yeah, the way that it's sitting at the moment, I'll be honest, I don't think many people were anticipating this game to be so close at this point in time. Some expected France to have a quick start like they did, but they didn't expect 3 converted tries. Like Fiji have scored the last 21 points in this game, but this is now some possession for the French. Feels like throughout the last about 30 minutes, they've only had about 10% of it. Now rolling forward. And now breaking off the back, going through the middle, but it is going to be a penalty advantage against Tavita Ikanaveri. Be interested to see what type of direction they decide to go in here for the French if they start winning penalties around that halfway line. Do they go for the 3s or do they continue to go aggressive? 2 men in there for Fiji holding up Thomas Ramos. He's going nowhere, so they'll go back for the initial penalty. And skill Fiji, says Bones. And Munt's not kicking, says Ariel. He was for the first kick. He absolutely shanked it. It was one of the ugliest kicks we've seen in this round of November, and then Kuravuli did take over and since then has 3 from 3. What the hell is going on? Just tuning in. Bok red card. New Zealand lose to England and now this, says Martin, and give Kuravuli the kicking duty. Yeah, so he's got 3 from 3. At the moment, this would be awesome if Fiji were to beat France. I think if even Fiji are close in this game, it would be absolutely awesome for them. But, you know, they've almost done the hard work in terms of getting back into the game. They don't seem like they're being pushed tempo-wise at the moment. Vanaka Kuravuli, says Manu there. Fair play to the Welsh. They've had a terrible time losing, but the stadium is a sellout. And come on, Fiji, shut their gob out, says Makarita. And now rolling maul. Julio Monchant hangs on to it at the back. Again, Fiji have to be very careful defending this rolling maul, which is starting to move very nicely for the French. That is going to be one of their keys here. They can join about 7 or 8 players and still marching forward. The ball's ended up in the hands of Fiji. I don't know how that's happened, but Viliami Mata's gone right through the middle and somehow popped out with the possession. He's probably called for it, and one of them has recycled it back into his hands. But now Bialbiare around the halfway line, 45 metres out. Fiji with a bit of a counter-attack, or counter-ruck, but not quite getting it. Will play the quarters come 2027. Well, they did play the last quarterfinals of the Rugby World Cup. They were up against the English. That ball has gone backwards, says Christophe Ridley. Looked like it may have been a knock-on for the French. Big tackle on Gregory Aldrit. Now numbers to the left-hand side, but a straightening run from Jeju. Another loose ball. Seems like every breakdown at the moment, Fiji are doing enough physically to try and cause a disruption. Oh, told to get out of it, and it's a penalty advantage in favour of the French. This one right in the middle of the field, so it is a kickable 3 points if they do decide to go that way. Roman Intermac switching the play now, going away to Deportier. Scored himself the early try. Whoa, that's a massive fend on Tuisova. Not many people do that to the big man at 12. And now Intermac. Oh, and Tuisova comes back with a massive shot on Julien Marchand. Marchand will be thanking his teammate for that one. And Georges. Silly dumb normal, says Eric, and come on France, don't allow your lead to full on slip away, and everyone loves Fiji, everyone's second team, come on. Yeah, penalty right in front of the post. Yeah, and I think that the smart play for the French is to take the 3 points, just break up Fiji's momentum a little bit here. But it's whether or not that confidence, or it's in some cases the arrogance, may come in here. They've been able to get that rolling ball going all day. So I feel like that's something that they may also look at. We have got there, can you tell us what you're watching? Says Makareta. So at the moment, I'm watching on Sky Sport 3 here in New Zealand. You're right, Fiji did the hard getting the score level, says Treadstone. And yeah, now they just have to go pretty much shot for shot with the French and then just hope to get that one extra point at some point later on. But yeah, the French will take on the 3 points here. For Thomas Ramos, we are 49 minutes through this matchup. He is sitting 3 from 3 off of the kicking tee, and this one possibly one of the easier ones that he will have off the tee for penalties. Does go straight down the middle, makes it 4 from 4 and 24 points to 21. Still extremely close between these two sides. Have a quick look at the score in the other matchup as well while we are at it. At the moment, 1 second, we'll go like that. We'll go like that. Ireland versus Australia. At this point in time. I've got an ad. 1 second. It's loading. Hopefully, it's a black screen at the moment. Is my Wi-Fi not allowing me to watch a stream on the own channel? Maybe. And Tosa Fiji Toso says Johnny Blaze. Oh no, there it is. 19-14 at the moment between those two sides. But now ball's loose. France clean it up. Maxime Luku. It's to Thomas Ramos, who keeps that kick down low. That's a very, very good kick from Ramos. And it will go out just outside of the Fijian 22 who's hosting the next World Cup. It is Australia who are in judge. Who's the guy who's commentating the Ireland-Australia game? That is Rugby Itch, also known as Tim. So he is helping us out because of the fact that there are 2 games, massive matches taking place at the exact same time. We have got one of us on each of those streams. And South Africa did serious emotional, psychological damage to the French last week. Now thrown in, nicely taken by David Canaveri in the line out of Fiji. Now, I will mention that one didn't look like the straightest line out ever. That one's not going into touch now, so a chance for a counter-attack from the back. Thomas Ramos looking to run this one forward. Initial tackle missed by Timo Mayanavanu'a, but Fiji in the breakdown, locking over the ball. Not told to get out of it by Christophe Ridley, just off the ball is the comment. Now backline movement, knock on from France. That is around the halfway line. Pressure on Pinot, who we haven't actually seen touch the ball in a good little while. Timmy doing well there. Aussies are coming back. Could beat the Irish, says Ruth. And Tosa Vititoso says Kasaya there. Yeah, anyone who is new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are going to be back next week with plenty more international rugby. The other Tim, the rugby YouTuber, hates New Zealand and the All Blacks. He absolutely despises us, says Johnny. And also 14 points, 19, still in favour of the Irish. They've got a nice lead, but that was a drop ball from Charles Olivon. We're starting to see some of those veteran players for France making mistakes that you wouldn't normally see. And maybe that is just down to the pressure. Perhaps this contest was a lot closer than they were first anticipating. Currently, I mentioned about the odds earlier on. Fiji are considered $6.50 underdogs in this matchup. So they actually, at this point in time, are given just as much of a chance, roughly, as what Australia are to come back in their game up against Ireland. The guy on your other live stream doesn't read the live chat, doesn't he? I thought Tim was normally a bit of a multitasker. And now Simeone Kuravoli putting this ball in again, and it is a big push from the French. That ball gets stuck in there. and France win themselves a crucial penalty at a great time in the match. This is where we more than likely will see the French go for the 3 points again. Just slowly keep on ticking over that scoreboard. 5 years ago, we were raving about Samoa. Fiji will turn rugby around. He does, only in the gaps of play. It's fine. See his big rig? Yeah, see, he probably gets less people saying talk about the game and more people saying talk about the chat, because I normally get it the other way around. People say you're talking too much to the chat rather than commentating what's happening. Is this the same strength France team that faced the box? Not really. Few changes. I actually thought that this would be regarded as a slightly stronger French side in certain positions. I mean, come on. I was live streaming. I would do a multitask. Have you done much live streaming? Out of curiosity, I feel like it's very much easier said than done. Definitely when you start getting people angry that you're not talking about the exact moment that is happening in a game. Thomas Ramos ready to line up this one. And, oh, he's hooked that. He's hooked that too much. And it has missed away to the sideboard. Thomas Ramos, normally someone who is so safe, doesn't get that one over. A mix of chat and commentary is exactly why I'm here. Says Yanko. He's not talking about obscure foods. He's talking about this weird rugby thing, says Big Rig. You're doing great, Kiwi lads, says Manu there. And Pollard would not have missed that one, says Eric. Although Ramos normally wouldn't have missed that one. I think that he's got maybe a little bit of nerves there at the moment. And now, Viliami Mate, he will make his way from the field. Had a solid enough performance there for the Fijians. I think that this game's flying by very quickly. We're already 54 minutes through. One's going to be kicked off high from Caleb Moods, and the chase there from Fiji, just showing intent all across the field. Maxime Luku in possession of the ball for the French, just inside of their own half. Looking for a bit of a counter-ruck, can't quite get it going now. Anthony Gelange, not a lot of carries for that man today. Ball's there, no advantage. Fiji just getting a little bit too greedy in the breakdown that time. And this one going high, slapped back by Fiji, but it will be another penalty in favour of the French. If I want pure commentary, I can just watch the game. And if I want pure chat, I could talk to anyone else. Says Yanko in there. And yeah, Rugby Hitch Tim isn't where they're as good as you, brother Average. Your class at this. Says Johnny, well, it's greatly appreciated. Although I also am very appreciative of Tim, because he easily could have said, nah, don't want to do a commentary for you. And then I would have had to make the massive decision. And in fact, if it came down to it, I believe we would have ended up, if it was just me, I possibly would have ended up doing Ireland, Australia. Just because of the fact that I would have probably got more stick for not doing that game than not doing this one. So, because of Tim, we get this matchup that at the moment is turning into an absolutely awesome one. Looking like a rolling ball now for the French. They are going to rinse and repeat here. Masaki Donge making the tackle there on the French number 3. Which I believe would have been Montagne. In this case, Julien Mochon getting tackled down low. Fiji need to win a big turnover here, or else the French will just slowly wear them down. You're doing a great job, H. Do your thing. There's Bones. Now back across to the left-hand side. Maxime Luku goes to Gelange. There's the penalty advantage against the Fijians. Now Maxime Luku going to Intermac. One more pass on. Big, huge collision there. Losing meters big time for the French. So they'll go back for the penalty. I wonder how 2 games at the same stream or same time live stream would go. There'd be mental swapping in between 4 different teams. I think people would get very confused, and I would definitely need to have like pitch maps or something there so that I could make it easier. I told you they scared from last week. Says Martin, I think this is an easy kickable 3 though for Thomas Ramos once more. Fiji's discipline just keeps on letting them down. They will continue to concede these easy 3 points. And I think that they must be close to that warning. Offside 12, that is against Joshua Tuisova. In this case, a big part of South Africa and New Zealand's success is the past. It's about getting the rest, where'd that go? Getting the rest of the world to hate you, says Arno. And imagine the supporters now in Fiji, before their TV screaming. There'll be a lot of Fijians who would have probably woken up a little bit late, perhaps, catching the second half of this contest and waking up expecting to be down by 15 to see down by 3 and going, oh, we've got a good chance here. Fiji depth, not good enough for 80-minute match, says Eric, although they have at this stage only made the one change off of their bench, I believe. So still quite a few decent options. As Ariel Tongiatama is there. They've got Hiarete Hitet. Should be able to control something when it comes to those Fijian scrums. Masaki Vothi been a bit of a standout player for the Fijian Rua when given the chance. Armstrong Ravula, he's got a bit of X factor about him. Sareli Mangwala, a brilliant player as well. Fiji will cause an upset, I'm certain about that, although they now drop to 6 points behind with 27-21. The score as it currently sits. Fiji jogging up to the halfway line. So you're telling me Tim wanted to do Island game? Why didn't you have any say about it? It's your YouTube channel. Well, I literally gave him the option. I said to him, which game would you like to cover, seeing as you're helping me out? And he said he'll take Ireland, Australia. And I said, too easy. I'll do Fiji versus France. But I wasn't going to be one of those guys who said, Tim, can you help me? And him go, yes. And then I say, hey, Tim, good luck. Try and say some Fijian and French names. We'll see you in a couple hours. No, we were always going to give him whichever stream that he wanted to, because he's literally helping us out. And we have got there, Manu Stop Dreaming says, Optimist there, and France need Antoine Dupont. And Tosso Vititoso says, Tina, ball available now for the Fijians. Caleb Muntz with a short ball. Like a bit of a pre-engagement. And the tackle from the French, rushing up here, one of the men off the bench. I think that is Arudo. Raviech is doing a good job, but don't tell him I said that. It's a cool story. And Mullet was a good droppy against Australia. Or with a good droppy. Who's Mullet? Mullet with a good droppy. That's not Mac Hansen, is it? He's already scored himself 3 tries. He doesn't need anything else from that game. Now Kuravuli goes across to Davida Ikanaveri as the Fijians just set themselves here with a few phases back-to-back. Caleb Muntz going back across. The last thing that they want is to throw a big wide cutout pass and have the French interception. And the potential chance of running in the try. Currently 21 minutes remaining on the clock. Oh, Charles Olivon, or Talfifanua, in fact, it was called as the tackle. He did not release, so the penalty goes the way of Fiji. Why are all the cards against box forwards? Will rugby want to curb box power and dominance? Says Larry. I think the thing is, cards against forwards are becoming much more common. Now, red cards against forwards are definitely a box thing at this point in time. But, oh no, I don't like this from Fiji. They're calling for a shot. They're not going to beat France playing 3-point tennis. They have to go aggressive here. And there you are, Hamish. I've been feeling like a stalker for a minute, searching all over the internet for him as a newbie. In this channel, I have no idea what is going on. To be fair, we don't normally have 2 live streams at the same time. It can get very confusing. But, yeah, we're here. Welcome in. Mate, you'll do very well doing another comedy series. The Wild World of Sports, an absolute classic, says Martin there. You see, I feel like comedy, though, I suck at telling jokes on the spot. Like, if I have time to... Well, actually, no. I suck at telling jokes that I've thought of. I'm better off just not thinking and hoping for the best. Now, Simeone Kuravuli. This is a tough kick, too. Around the halfway line, about 50 metres out on the angle. He's got a decent strike of it, and it misses away to the right. That is why Fiji should not have taken the 3. And 3-point Dennis says Samuela. And Fiji being aggressive all the time. Yeah, but that makes no sense why they went for 3 points in this case. Because, you know, they've been going for the corner. They've been trying to get that line out going, which has had a bit of success. Score is 24 or 27, so it's 27. My apologies. Scoreboard doesn't want to give the extra points to the French by the looks of it. The scoreboard's still updating too. And silly Fiji. And you know how they'll definitely not beat France by going for the posts and missing. Exactly. Or even just going for the posts in general. I don't think they'll beat the French. They need tries. You know, 2 quick-fire tries for Fiji puts them in a great position here. I think Fiji's 15s have a funding problem historically. Says JB. Now, nice run forward from Salisi Reasi, just inside of the half. Is it 24 or 27? 27. It just doesn't want to update for some reason. It's updating the time. It's updating everything but that score for the French. Oh. Okay, head knock here for one of the French players. I think that might be Arudo. He looks, his eyeball's a bit messed up. Looks like he's had a finger in the ball. We have Gilea Rabic is a decent guy. I can see why you and Tim are the best of friends. You meet him I hope meet him in person. Is that you want to meet him or I want to meet him in person? That I think does not look lekker. Yeah, it looked like he kind of, you know, half by a bit of squinting going on, a bit of twitchiness in the eyeball. That's never fun. And thanks, Stephen, says Corallo there. Did England move up after today's victory? Yeah, so England are now 3rd, but if Ireland beat Australia, then Ireland go back to 3rd. It's mindset. You can't win the mind battle with penalties. Says Bite. Tuisova's finger just got a little bit inside of the eyeball. Well, they're showing Gelasiku in the stands. He was playing in the last match up against the Box, not playing in this contest. And if Ireland and France loses, the Irish will drop to 5th place, France in 4th, and England 3rd. Says Stefan there. Ireland are looking like they will win. Are they still up by 10 at the moment, is it the Irish? In terms of their points? No, they're up by... they're up by 8, I should say. How many is France up by? They're up by 6, but it just doesn't want to tell us that. France are on 27, by the way. Scoreboard doesn't like me. But we have got a bit of a stoppage because of the eyeball incident. Ready to go for this scrum. I believe it will be Fiji's ball because they were in position when the game was stopped. And go Fiji, teach them a lesson. Hey, Hamish, I watched the old show Flight of the Conchords for some good New Zealand dry humour. I'm probably going to offend people, but I thought Flight of the Conchords was a band. Are they a band? They might actually be a band as well. Maybe they were a band and they had a TV show. They're from New Zealand, aren't they? I should probably know things like that. Fiji got a surprise ticket booked. Let's go Fiji, says Glendon. Right, back underway in this contest. Bit of a stoppage there. It looks like pretty poor weather in Paris. Yeah, it's bucketing down for this contest. But hopefully we'll be raining tries in the final 15. We use that one each and every week that it is raining. And front rows reset. Have you heard the one about the ref who left his red card at home? Says Bones. I feel like I shouldn't have read that out till you put the punchline in so that I can read it together. Oh, please, Hamish, you haven't seen the Lord of the Rings movies? I haven't, no. And in terms of New Zealand, even New Zealand artists, I'll probably struggle to name you 5. Not like literal artists like painting. I couldn't name you 1 New Zealand artist in that regard. This time of the year in Europe, that's basically every week, says Yanko. Yeah, so I've been using it a lot lately. Beat the France Fiji brothers, says Glendon. Now another scrum reset. This one taking a little bit of time. You're Tim. Hamish, is he? If he is coming to South Africa, certainly I want to meet him. No question. They are a band as well who had their own ridiculous TV series. And well done the box from South Africa, says Heinrich. And go Fiji, says Anthony. Right, this scrum is finally happening. It's felt like about 4 minutes, but it's probably only been about a minute and a half. The ball goes in. Ball is now there for the Fijians. Simeone Kuravoli going off to Celestino Ravotamunde. He almost made his way through offloads to Tuisova. Another offload attempted, but this time Maxime Luku able to take it back. Loose ball on the outside. Chasing after a little bit of football being shown off. Ravovo with the no-look pass on the inside. Back to France. They're starting to play Fiji's game, and I don't know if that favours the French. They are looking for offloads each and every time that they get the ball as well. We have there, what's for lunch? Can you get Burger King, please? Sadly, I cannot get Burger King unless I was to travel 30 minutes to get it. But I could be tempted. Now, Maxime Luku, 5 metres out from the line. Does manage to clear it into touch. But yeah, it just seemed like a little bit of a scrambled mess for the French when it came to those offloads. They were trying to play the exact same as Fiji were, looking for the counter-attack. But in doing so, they were leaving themselves with the chance of having a counter-attack against themselves. And Ireland 27 also. And 27-21, yeah, that is the score. It just doesn't want to say it. For some reason, they aren't giving France the extra 3 points in this one. I went to Burger King just before the box started and ate as it started, says Yanko. And come on, Fiji, says Heinrich. And a couple changes being made. Maximin, I should say, making his way onto the field for Tolfa Whanua. And the man's name, who I can't say, he is on for Montagna. Ready to throw it into Veda Ikanaveri. Been competitive at line-out time, and that one stolen nicely by the French. Maxime Luku sends it downfield. Fiji, bit of a drop ball, goes backwards for Gita Wanyanyolo, cross to Caleb Muntz. In fact, this time it's Salisi Areasi off of his left boot, close to the sideline, taken by Pinot. And thanks, Hamish, I'll have some extra fries with mayo, says JB. Damien Pinot goes up for it, but beautiful take from Fiji again. Another offload goes to Herete Hitit. I don't think Fiji realise they're supposed to be getting tired in this game. Oh, that's a drop ball though. Ball somehow stays in the field of play, or at least it looks that way. Yeah, nicely done by Timo Mainavanua. I love Fiji water, that's it. Says Mario, how many minutes left? Please, what is the score right now? So score at the moment after 64 minutes is 27-21. So 6 points difference. Oh, did Heretiati drop that ball? Yeah, it looks like it is on the side of the French now. Maxime Luku, chance to go out wide. Ramos looking for the cross kick, and that one goes into touch. Wrong decision, mate. Fiji lose this one. I think the wrong decision that they made was about 4 minutes ago when they went for the corner. When they went for the post rather than the corner. But yeah, still another 15 minutes remaining. Ireland doesn't impress me at the moment. It's only 22-14 for Ireland currently. I mean, I think that they'd much rather be on that scoreline, 25-14 at the moment by the looks of it. Jack Crowley just knocking over another penalty. But yeah, I'd much rather be there than down by the 11 points. Fiji, inside of their own 22, looks like they will just use the forwards. There's always a chance that they will try and run that one out. Ramos will fake something. There's Anthony there. Roll back. Kuravuli told to use it. And does kick this ball into touch. 25-14. There's Haino there. Yeah, currently Ireland looking like they're starting to run away with that game a little bit more. It would be great if this was the closer game out of the two. I do think that would be a little bit of a curveball that not many people would be anticipating, which is why it would be great if that was the case. Oh, not straight. The timing is bad, says Christophe Ridley against the French. Olivon coming over and just having a chat with him. Go Fiji, says Anthony. I think we're going to have to try and update the score ourselves here, aren't we? With a little bit of luck. If I go like that, I grab that, go like that, and we'll go here, and like that, and hopefully, there we go. We'll do that for now. But hopefully it does update itself in the relatively near future. And there you come on Fiji, says Glendon and poor Australia. They had one great second half against the Box at Ellis Park. And that was the beginning of the end of their season. Says Eric, I definitely think we've got the closer game. Unless Fiji, the wheels fall off. That is the only way that we do see them lose by a bigger margin now. And 27-21, your scoreboard is stuck. Although that is the right score now. So hopefully it does stay that way and doesn't try and update back down to 24. And go Fiji go, says Arami there. Yeah, I think Fiji will be more than proud with what they've been able to do out there on the field. And I know that it sounds like we are praising Fiji a lot. And at the end of the day, France are still winning in this matchup. But I think it's because they were expected to win this game, France, that this was so impressive from the Fijians. Gregory Eldred ripped to the ground. That looked like an illegal clean-out from one of the French forwards. Ball is loose, and it's going to be an offside advantage now. Gas tank emptied. Says Big Rig, this is where Fiji tend to lose all their steam. And who has the ball at the moment? The French have the ball 25 metres out from the Fijian line. Maxime Luku going away to the left-hand side, also playing under penalty advantage. And go Fiji go, says Adwin there. Now Luku goes across again to Adu. Now into Mac. Ramos. Wide cut a pass to Biel Biarri. Done really well shutting him down in the wide channel so far. Fiji trying to get this still on the breakdown. Sorelli Mangwala does well, but they will go back for that initial penalty. This will now give France the opportunity to lead by more than the 7 points. Absolutely no arms in that clean out. TMO nowhere to be seen, smelled and heard. What a fast. I assume you're talking about that one that I said about that French number 17, wasn't it? Who flew over the middle of the breakdown. I think it was Rodrigue Netti. Didn't show... Okay, I think Tavita Ikanaveri is just having a chat with Christophe Ridley. He is saying shoulder charge in the breakdown right here. Okay, Christophe Ridley said, we're aware of what you've just said, but that doesn't mean they're actually going to look at it. And final score 31-30 to France, says Carallo. And this looks like France are going aggressive now. They are looking towards the corner, but the time is off. So they will be reviewing this one. I would say if they actually go upstairs and check this on the TMO, Netty will be in trouble. But it's whether or not they get to that stage of checking it or whether they just let it slip and let it slide. Okay. I don't know if they've checked it, but it is going to be play on and France have the opportunity to kick this one into the corner. So they are going aggressive now rather than taking the lead by more than 7. I'd like to see that breakdown again, though, because, you know, normally if the TMO is checking something, we at least get a replay of some sort. Right, what is happening now? A couple changes. Masaki Vothi. He will make his way onto the field for Fiji. That is replacing Asoa Nasilasila. So the French are stepping up a bit. Says Ruth, yep, they are going aggressive for the final moments. Overthrown though, and Fiji pick up the ball. Big bump off on, I believe that would have been Jojo. Trying to get this deal on the breakdown was Gregory Aldrich, ref supporting Fiji. Says short videos, and yes, moaned, but TMO says nothing. Not even looking at it again. Says Eric now running this one back. Ramos, they're 22 metres out from the line. They tried to make a little bit of a different play there, the French, by going for the corner rather than taking the 3. They may be regretting it now as Fiji have got themselves the scrum 22 metres out from their own line. Or sorry, the line out, I should say. But we are closing in on the final 10 minutes of this matchup. Currently, Ireland, they are leading 25 points to 14 in that contest, 68 minutes in. That one's thrown over the top. Fiji don't claim their own line out. And now, chance for the French again on attack. Ball is there. Maxime Luku goes across to Gelange. And this almost turned into a rolling maul. He does manage to distribute the ball to his teammate, though. Maxime Luku again going off to the left. However, there's Munster win the game. I don't think so. I haven't seen him for a while anyway. He could still be out there now. Run forward. Oh, falls on his back. Crawls over. And that will be the try. Brilliant work from Nicolas Deportier. He was the man that started it all for France today. And he will finish the job as well. Or at least it looks that way. Ridley seems happy enough. I don't think they'll be checking this one. Mistake sloppy, says Ruth in there. And ball game, says Big Rig. But Nicolas Deportier gets himself his second try. The Bordeaux man in front of the home crowd as well. And we have got there, well, French get another. And yeah, we see it there. Oh, was there a crawling motion? At the end, we'll have to look at this one again. So he's down. That is a tackle there. Okay, it's called as no tackle complete from Christophe Ridley. And still time, says Eric J. In a simple game, Fiji put the ball behind the poles so that my bookie can cancel his holiday. Says Bones. Now a kick here for Thomas Ramos to line it up. And he's got it over. Crucial kick goes through, and that makes the score now 13 points separating these two sides. TMO happy now, cannot work against the box. But working here, congrats, says Eric. And a bit of a lead, says Ruth. And there too. Yeah, big celebration from the French. They know how crucial that one try now is. The overall outcome of this contest. But are Fiji going to be able to find a way back into it? That is the question mark at the moment. They love retaining a kickoff, but in this case, France has got it back. Has Tavita Ikadaveri scored yet? Not yet, no. He hasn't managed to get himself one, and I think Zaril Dongiatama won't be too far from making his way on. Kicked up high. Damien Pinot. That one's going to be slapped back. I believe knocked on by Fiji in the breakdown. Referee, I assume, will get word in the very short moment from a TMO. And up to the halfway line. 30 points to 14 to the Irish. Yeah, these games have been pretty similar. I wouldn't have picked, though, that Fiji would be closer to France than Australia to Ireland. I would think 90% of people, well, that's a great kick from Kuravoli. Gets the 50-22 for the Fijians. You have two channels going. We certainly do. I am on this one. Rugby Itch is on the other. And that is a very nice kick from Simeone Kuravoli. They are just checking to see if it is a 50-22. I believe it is. Or at least it should be. Yes, it is. The 50-22 for the Fijians. I just woke up from my nap. Another Southern Hemisphere drubbing, says Eric J. And to be fair, there's been no point in Ireland match where Australia looked like they could win, says Big Rig, which is a bit similar to how they played up against the Italians too, isn't it? They just seem to struggle to find their rhythm, at least Fiji, that 21-21 period where they had the momentum for a bit, says Big Rig. And theoretically, if they were to score now, you could argue that they are well and truly still in the contest too. Going to the front, off to Tavita Ikadaveri, 5 metres out, but the ball ripped out of his hands. And I think it's called as not straight anyway, so it would have been ruled out. And now France have got themselves the option of kicking this one downfield. I guess it looks like only Springboks will fly the Southern Hemisphere flag this weekend, says Mike. Although Argentina's still playing tomorrow up against the Scottish, we are going to be covering that game on the channel too. So, of course, anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Springboks Days is out of control, says Epic Adventures. And there too, that one Going off to the right-hand side again. And this one put extremely high by the Fijians, but that is a great take from Roman Intermac. Now Gelange goes to Ramos. Thought about the offload, finds Gelange again, moving away. Big cutout pass from Jeju. Finds Biel Biarray. Looks like Eldrit's hurting in the background too. This has been a tough 74 minutes so far, and he's going to get the ball in hand, trying to pin the ears back, and does a forward pass. He didn't look 100% there. We are hearing the French national anthem being sung at the moment. Yes, as two streams going, Rugby Itch is doing the Ireland-Australia match. Says George, and I will mention straight after this live stream, I am actually going to be popping over to join Rugby Itch on that commentary. So what I might be able to do, I assume this will work. I didn't actually think of it at the time, but I'm going to go customization, and hopefully, there we go. With a little bit of luck, you guys should be directed over to that Ireland versus Australia stream once this one ends. So pretty much right on full time, I'm going to be popping over to chat to Rugby Itch. We're going to be discussing the two games that we've witnessed here. I think the Pumas will beat the Scots. I guess Argentina will be better. Scots played their final last week in yellow card for Australia, so that goes from bad to worse for the Aussies in that case. And this game is a few minutes ahead of the Aussies, so your game will end first, says Big Rig. And that is what we did anticipate. We felt like Australia versus Ireland would go that little bit longer. Penalty goes the way of Fiji. Some decent work in the scrum so far. France is paying the refs, says Epic Adventures. And now a chance again for Fiji to be able to kick this ball towards the sideline. It's all about just making the right decisions here. Someone has to, says Eric J. But yeah, we will be popping over to that stream for the closing moments, and someone has to. And 32-21, closer we get. Keep going, Fiji, says Anthony. Yeah, one more try here for Fiji in the last 4 minutes. Puts them in such an impressive position. You know, you're going up against a side in France who were heavily hurting after that last game up against the South Africans. You're facing a side that are top 5 in the world as a Fijian side that just want to be somewhere near that top 8. Ireland game is now 72 minutes. Okay, so we are 76 minutes pretty much past in this contest. Ariel Tungiatama was just about ready to throw that ball in before he was told to not do it, as there was one more change being made. And Sam White, he makes his way on. Maxime Luku makes his way off. So actually both sides deciding to go with the replacement halves. Nicely taken now in the lineup from Masaki Vothi. Caleb Muntz, Davida Ikanaveri. Quick hands from Fiji. Still plenty of gas left in the tank by the looks of it. Gita Wanyanyolo cutting back inwards. Gets through 2 French tackle attempts. If Fiji score right now, they still theoretically have time. Now why? Goes across. Oh, Timo Maia-Navanua by the looks of that was not expecting that pass. But he still managed to hang on to it. Our big driving tackle on Salisi Reasi. Had a solid game from the back. Took me a minute. Then I got you both on. Says Robert, and Ireland's destroying Australia right now, 32-14. So yeah, much more one-sided than people would have been expecting. Currently the Fijians, they are sitting 5 phases in, 45 out from the opposition line. You don't live there you don't live there anymore, says Eric J. Now step there from Caleb Muntz. Oh, Sam White just loses that ball. France getting onto it. It looks like there is an advantage here for a knock-on in favour of the Fiji. And Salisi Reasi going for the cross kick. It sets up. Brilliant run from Gita Wanyanyolo, who will be dragged down just short of the line, but it's stolen back by Ramos. And it counts as the knock-on from the Fijians. If Gita Wanyanyolo had just hung on to that one, they could have found themselves potentially right on the goal line. How good it's possible to score a try in 18 seconds, says Big Rig. Although Fiji needed to lack or not have that one big mistake there. Ramos kicking it downfield and does get it into touch. Muntz. Oh, I thought he was going to take it quickly, but then he realised there were about 4 French players all charging at him, so didn't really have a lot of support from his teammates there. The crowd cheering behind this French side. This has been a really good game of rugby. Gita Wanyanyolo showing off the skill and the pace that man has. Like they're saying, the sevens class. Charles Olivant actually getting himself man of the match too here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, They're checking potential cynical play. Ramos knocked it, not Fiji. Yeah, if that was Ramos's hand now, see, I didn't think it was forward from the Fijian. Right, this is a big moment. In fact, this is a huge moment because this may be considered as a penalty try. Just out from the line, that would be a guaranteed 7 points for Fiji, and then they would go into the last 2 minutes still with half a chance of getting something going. That'd be great for the end of the game, wouldn't it? But we're going to see Agito Wainignolo. We see it there, Ramos. Does he do this on the ground? Or does it hit his hand? He's offside at the time of the tackle, so this may be considered cynical from Thomas Ramos. If he's in that offside position, even with a penalty try, this will be hard to turn. Says Yanko, it would be. But 2 minutes, that would be all that Fiji would have remaining on the clock, and they would be within 7 because of the penalty try being a guaranteed 7 points. Ramos knocked it on. What is this BS? Says Epic Adventures. Yeah, in the replay, it does hit the hand of Thomas Ramos, who was in an offside position. Okay, they're trying to find a better angle with the touch of the ball. They will look at this very often. Right, they have a decision. Okay. So it's not a penalty try because there's 2 players chasing back. Now, tell you what, those players didn't look anywhere near. Where are the 2 players? Oh, they're a long way away. But here it is, the offside from Thomas Ramos. It is very cynical, though. Just out from the line. The tackle is complete. 15 Blue is offside. Plays the ball. It's a yellow card, but it will not be a penalty try. They still need a converted try, says Yanko. Yeah, after that, but at least, you'll still be in a chance in that scenario. Now they are just talking about it, whether or not Fiji, I think they almost have to just go for a tap here. The Fijians, they've got 2 minutes to try and get something moving. Ramos said, no, I didn't touch the ball. But he did. I actually looking at that picture of Ramos and then looking at myself. Am I closest to Thomas Ramos out of these French players? I would say that the haircut is the most similar, maybe the facial hair as well. It also means that Ireland versus Australia, I believe, would have caught up a little bit, ladies and gents, in terms of the clock. But it looks like they're going to be going for the line out here. Put them in the pot. And Ireland got another, says George. So it goes from bad to worse for the Aussies, even though they were able to fire back one of their own, nicely taken by Fiji. Rolling maul, shaping up now. Theoretically, they only need enough time for a kickoff. Now breaking off the back, Zariel Tongiatama. Couple meters out from the line. Caleb Muntz looks like he is going to be playing halfback. Penalty try all day. Yeah, they said that there was cover defence, but they were a long way back in that scenario. Aldrich gets over the ball anyway, though, and will win the turnover for France. Hamish Ramos, says Eric there, in 78 minutes in the Irish game. Okay, so we're 78 and a half minutes in this contest. So, yeah, I would say we're going to be very close to finishing at pretty much the exact same time. So what we are going to be doing on this live stream is going over to that stream with Rugby Itch. How do you issue a yellow card on the try line and know a penalty try? That's a great question. An hometown ref, he gets a free holiday at the Riviera. And Fiji in there, and Fiji offloads aren't normal. They always lead to tries, says Robert T. But we see there, Aldrich locked over the ball and just had enough of a hand on it to be able to get that interception. Currently 13 points separating these two sides. They've been 2 points short the whole time on the scoreboard, it would seem, for this one. Possession 57% for Fiji. They've had an extra 57 carries. They've made an extra 300 meters. So, that is pretty impressive for this Fijian side. Now breaking off the back for the French. They're up to the halfway line. Fiji looking for the steal for Ilya Thanakaivata. It is going to be play on, though. 40 meters out from the line for the French. Fiji still want another chance. But I think that the French may just look to kick this ball out. They will not be in any hurry to go for another attack here. Going to the big forwards. 80 minutes just now ticks over. And with that being said, back into the pocket. Ramos kicks it out. And that will be the end of the contest. This score, 34-21 at full time. A valiant effort from this Fijian team. How did cricket go yesterday? Are you going to watch the ODI today? I'll probably watch a little bit of it. To answer the question on cricket, it ended up raining and hailing, so we got through 3 overs and then the game was cancelled. So that was slightly unfortunate. Officials everywhere getting worse by the day. They're even worse than Pakistan, India and Bryce in cricket. And 15 versus Fantasy French League. So here's Anthony there. But yeah, 34-21, the end score in this contest. The match between Ireland and also Australia just coming to a close now. Are you going to do Scotland versus Argentina tomorrow? We certainly are going to be covering that one on the channel as well, alongside giving updates of New Zealand 15 versus Uruguay. But yeah, we're jumping over to that next stream, ladies and gents. To anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you want the direct link to go on over, we're going to be having a chat not just about this game, but also Ireland versus Australia over there. So yeah, I will be joining that stream in about probably 2 minutes time. So I will see you all in a very short moment for the next one.